Chapter 908, Strange Soul. At that moment, the young man in black clothes stretched his hand towards Lin Feng and a strange strength enveloped Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked expressionless as he punched the air in his opponent's direction. He was so strong that he didn't fear many people. Boom, their fists collided. Lin Feng sensed a strength fill up his fist which was painful. He could have lost his arm, it felt like. He released strength at the same time and crackling sounds could be heard. Piss off. Lin Feng jumped forward and the young man in black clothes groaned with pain as he was propelled backwards into a wall inside the bar. Parts of the wall fell down as the man was propelled into it. His arm was hanging loosely and was broken. "You're quite strong but not strong enough to defeat me," said the young man in white clothes indifferently. Lin Feng turned around and looked at him. He said indifferently, "Even though your cultivation level is higher than mine, you're nothing but a know-it-all. I can crush you in one strike." Both had sharp words. They stared at each other for a while before the young man in white clothes slowly stood up and issued a strong wind. The table in front of him even broke under the pressure. "I will teach you a lesson now," said the young man in white clothes while releasing an insane amount of energy. Lin Feng decided to release his fire energy. People quickly avoided the flames and moved away even though they wanted to watch. Level 5 Fire Intent. "How talented," said the young man smiling. From behind him, a terrifying black wind started blowing with strange marks in it. Slash, slash, kacha, everybody who had stayed in the bar felt like they were suffocating. Explosions sounded as the bar was breaking apart. Lin Feng sensed a terrifying energy which almost made him suffocate. Apparently, that wind was very powerful. His fire intent was destroyed, worse yet, it was absorbed by the wind. "It's a soul." Lin Feng was not prepared for that. What a strange soul it was at that. He had rarely seen others with strong souls. But there was Duan Wu Dao and Duan Wu Ye who had the door seal soul. However, there was a strong correlation between a strong soul and a Zun cultivator's blood. Few people inherited a Zun cultivator's soul. Therefore, it could be assumed that most people only possessed ordinary souls. However, the young man in front of him wasn't ordinary. His soul alone could destroy intent. That was a powerful advantage. "Have you never seen such a soul? You're such an ignorant weakling. The continent is vast, you can't imagine how many types of strong souls there are. I told you, I can easily kill you." The bar was already destroyed. Lin Feng and his opponent were fighting outside now. "No need to talk to a piece of trash, just kill him," said the girl in the background. She despised Lin Feng. "All right," said the young man. A strong wind started blowing again. Lin Feng moved back. Even with his physical strength, that wind would still hurt. Lin Feng knew that he could encounter extremely strong cultivators in the continent. They weren't like those cultivators of the second or third Tian Qi layer he easily killed before. "Master Tian Lin," shouted a few people at that moment. A group of people had arrived. The young man in white clothes turned around and nodded at them. The leader of the group saw that the young man was fighting and shook his hand. In a flash, a group of people surrounded Lin Feng. "Master Tian Lin, why would you fight such a person?" "It's an honor for them to fight you," said the leader of the group in a respectful way. "The patriarch told me to come and pick you up. Don't be angry, please." "No problem," said the young man in white clothes. The whirlwind behind him disappeared and went back into his body. The atmosphere became calm again and everyone finally exhaled. They had almost suffocated a moment before. "Master Tian Lin, the patriarch is waiting. They will take care of that person so there's no need for you to fight anymore." "All right. He humiliated the woman I love, so kill him and bring me back that Xiong Qi," said the young man. "No problem," said that person nodding. Then he said to the others, "Follow the orders." "Poor boy. He doesn't know he offended powerful people and missed an opportunity," said the young man in a despising way. Lin Feng was an insect to him. He turned around and left with his wife. Those people are from the Xiaoyao sect. Were they talking about the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect just now? Many people were whispering. Who is that young man then? Who could it be for the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect to send people to pick him up? How prestigious. Many people were looking at Lin Feng. He was insane to provoke people with such high status. He had almost died a moment before, but now he was surrounded by Tian-level cultivators, so it would probably end the same, he would probably die. Stupid boy, thought the crowd. That young man probably came because of the meeting in Ahsoka. Must be, Ahsoka is not far. He's probably going there. Lin Feng heard what those people were talking about. He didn't expect to meet people from the Xiaoyao sect there, and what meeting were they talking about? At that moment, a strong energy surrounded Lin Feng. Lin Feng glanced at them. Those people weren't weak. There was even one person who had broken through to the fourth Tian Qi layer. Lin Feng suddenly rose up in the air, telling Cheong Qi to do the same. Where do you think you're going? Shouted someone furiously. Lin Feng surprisingly wanted to escape. Impossible. Lin Feng moved very quickly. Those people groaned and started following Lin Feng using the Xiaoyao agility technique. Where did Lin Feng think he was going? Lin Feng glanced at those people and started using the Xiaoyao agility technique too. Those people were speechless. That was the Xiaoyao agility technique, the agility technique of their sect, the Xiaoyao sect. Lin Feng could use the Xiaoyao agility technique, how? On top of that, Lin Feng seemed to have mastered the technique even better than them. Chase him, shouted someone furiously. All those people started chasing Lin Feng. They had to find out where he had learnt the Xiaoyao agility technique and then kill him. Chapter 909, Ahsoka City. Lin Feng had learnt the Xiaoyao agility technique from the Three Lives Demon. Even though his cultivation level was inferior to theirs, he was faster than them. After a short time, Lin Feng arrived in a desolate place and slowed down. Where are you going? Shouted someone furiously. Many people were following him now. However, when they got near him, Lin Feng turned around and a demon seal stone appeared. Kill him, shouted someone furiously. Lin Feng threw his demon seal stone and ran away as fast as he could. The first two people felt oppressed, like they couldn't move any further. The strength of that demon seal stone was incredible. Their faces showed hints of worry as they knew they couldn't avoid it anymore. Boom boom boom. Explosions sounded as Lin Feng's strength, coupled with the power of the demon seal stone, killed those two strong cultivators and immediately reduced them to ashes. Lin Feng glanced at the others and continued moving. He was hiding his true identity so he couldn't use his full strength, otherwise people might recognize him. Therefore, he was attracting people to different corners to kill them. He's got demon seal stones, be careful, shouted someone. Then, they continued using their Xiaoyao agility technique to chase Lin Feng. This time, they stayed in a group to avoid acting careless like the two others from before. Lin Feng took out a red sword which was full of thick blood qi. Lin Feng released a terrifying sword qi and his entire body turned into a sharp sword. At the same time, he released the qi of 1,000,000 swords. His sword qi dashed to the skies as his enemies hesitate for a second. Lin Feng then stopped in the air. Be careful, shouted someone. They all stopped and looked up at Lin Feng. Lin Feng turned around and was smiling. Are you tired? Don't be nervous. Lin Feng then continued running. Bastard! You really want to die, shouted someone furiously. Lin Feng was playing with them. But again, Lin Feng turned around and released an infinite amount of sword qi. They suddenly all looked desperate. If Lin Feng's sword qi reached them, they'd die. Boom boom boom. Die! They all released a terrifying strength. However, Lin Feng turned into a sword using his human sword fusion. Slashing sounds spread in the air as two corpses fell from the sky. Arg! The others were going insane. Surprisingly, Lin Feng had already killed 4 of them. Just as they turned around to face Lin Feng again, Lin Feng's sword chi disappeared. A mountain appeared in Lin Feng's hand which shot out at them. Die. Bzzz, boom boom boom. Lin Feng used his Tianxian treasure. Many people who were too close were immediately crushed alive. Lin Feng glanced at the enemies, only 2 were left. He recalled his Tianxian meteorite and stood there. He looked like a god despising those strong cultivators. You still want to kill me, but can you? Said Lin Feng. Lin Feng. You're Lin Feng, said someone staring at Lin Feng. Demon Seal Stone, Blood Sword, that meteorite which looked like a precious treasure from Tianxian, that person had to be Lin Feng. Lin Feng was already famous in Ganyu. He had Demon Seal Stones, he loved swords, he was a member of Tianxian. All those things weren't a secret anymore. It was easy to guess that he was just wearing a mask. You just found that out. It's too late now. Lin Feng jumped forwards with his gigantic mountain in hand. The 2 enemies ran backwards. Lin Feng threw his meteorite at them. The strength of the earth and sky rolled in the air and chased those people. A terrifying mountain fell down onto one of the enemies' back and crushed them to death as blood splashed everywhere. 1 strike, 1 death. In a flash, Lin Feng recalled the meteorite back to his hand and it disappeared. Lin Feng had killed all of his opponents but 1 now. The last opponent started running like a madman. Lin Feng had killed so many people in the blink of an eye. If he didn't manage to escape, he would definitely die. He used his Xiaoyao agility technique. He was running so fast that the wind buffeted against his body. And where do you think you're going? Shouted Lin Feng loudly, startling his opponent. He had been chasing Lin Feng the whole time and now he was being chased. What a coward. Die. Lin Feng released a terrifying fire energy from his fist which turned black. Then their fists collided. Boom. As their fists collided, the strong cultivator gave a horrible shriek. Lin Feng crushed his fist and continued on to crash into his chest. Lin Feng had just killed the last one. Lin Feng was still standing in the air. Xiaoyao sect, the meeting. Lin Feng continued running. He understood what was happening in Ganyu. When he was in Shuiyu, his teacher had gone and killed people in Shengong. Shengong, Jade Heaven, and the East Sea Dragon Palace had joined hands and went to Tianqi. When that didn't go their way, they called the big sects from the Ganyu region with the sole goal of destroying Tianqi. Lin Feng wasn't surprised that all of Ganyu wanted to destroy Tianqi. Lin Feng didn't stop. After he guessed about the meeting, he headed straight for Ahsoka. Tianqi was good to him, he couldn't let them down now. Ahsoka was in the center of the Ganyu region, so bringing together all those sects was most convenient. The East Sea Dragon Palace, Jade Heaven, Shengong, the 9 Cloud Swords sect, the Xiaoyao sect and so on were already there. There were so many Zun cultivators there as well as countless numbers of Tian-level cultivators. Many people were leaving as a group of people arrived. Their leader was wearing white clothes and looked both rich and handsome. A beautiful woman stood by him. Master Tian Lin, the members of the Xiaoyao sect greeted him politely and respectfully. Patriarch. Long time no see, said the young man in white clothes, smiling indifferently. Even when faced the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect, he still acted proud as if he were the best in the world. Indeed, long time no see. I wouldn't have thought that you'd come to the Ganyu region. It's an honor to see you again, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect, smiling. Members of the Xiaoyao sect were surprised. Who was this man that was respected by even the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect? His social status must be very high. Patriarch, you're too polite. I'm not the only one who came to Ganyu. I heard that an emperor's treasure has been found and that many influential people had come to practice cultivation, said Tian Lin. What Tian Lin meant was that things were not going to happen smoothly. Chapter 9-10, Cheong Chi's abnormal behavior. Tian Lin, you're incredible. Even I, the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect, feel so small compared to people like you. It's incredible to see such geniuses, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect smiling. He understood that geniuses needed to leave their nests to become stronger. They all left for better places at some point before they became stronger. Geniuses were people who had incredible abilities. They had to fight wars and struggle through hardships to become stronger. Something was happening in Ganyu. A treasure had been found, so it had attracted lots of very strong cultivators. Those geniuses were all coming to Ganyu to fight Lin Feng. This seemed perfectly normal to almost everyone. The war was going to be fierce this time. At that moment, the person who had gone to pick him up avoided looking at him. This intrigued Tian Lin. When is my beast arriving? That person pulled a long face. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect said coldly, "Speak." Prince Tian Lin, when I realized that they weren't coming back, I sent someone to check if everything was all right, and they found that everyone died. What? Tian Lin frowned. So many strong cultivators lost against a cultivator of the first Tianqi layer. What happened? Asked the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. A bunch of trash. Prince Tian Lin, I'll send people personally to bring you back that Qiongqi. He must be gone already. If I meet him again, I will kill him personally. If I don't see again, he can consider himself lucky. It's unfortunate though, I really wanted that ancient wild beast, said Tian Lin annoyed. Somewhere else, at that same moment, Lin Feng arrived in Ahsoka. It was in the central part of Ganyu where wars never took place and where strong cultivators gathered. Many influential groups often met there. Lin Feng checked a map. He was still getting used to its geography. He also heard a few things about the meeting and recent news in town. He realized that everyone was talking about him. He had unknowingly become famous in Ganyu. Everybody was astonished by what happened in Shuiyu and by the fact that 3 Zun cultivators were killed. Lin Feng also found that some people knew that he wasn't in Shuiyu anymore, which was actually a relief for him. He wanted Shuiyu to experience some peace. According to some rumors, he was in Tianqi because he was afraid and needed Tianqi's protection. Some other people said that he was probably hiding somewhere to practice cultivation and that he would come out only after becoming stronger, then he could get his revenge. Very few people thought that he had come to Ahsoka. That would simply be too audacious. So many powerful people were there to plan an attack against Tianqi, after all. There was a trading market in Ahsoka, larger than any others he had seen before. Lin Feng was walking through the market wearing his yellow mask. He still looked fragile and sick. Roar! Lin Feng walked past a vendor's booth and Qiongqi roared loudly. Lin Feng immediately lowered his head and went to that vendor's booth. Qiongqi had roared, so that meant there was something interesting there. There was something that shone like a jade stone. It was smooth and round and it was glowing. "Sir, are you interested in that deployment spirit jade?" asked that street vendor when he saw Qiongqi's reaction to it. Qiongqi even put its claws on the item and grabbed it. "You're lucky that your beast could recognize the item," said the owner smiling. Lin Feng lowered his head and looked at the item. He asked, "What does it cost?" "It's a very, very precious item. Its deployment and sealing powers are incredible and work for a long time," explained the owner. He then continued, "I would want 2 fire intent crystals for it." "No problem." Lin Feng took the item and took out 2 fire intent crystals in exchange. The owner was surprised at how rich Lin Feng was. Lin Feng continued walking and saw many items but nothing interesting. Qiongqi told Lin Feng that since he was traveling with Lin Feng, he also needed to protect him. Qiongqi seemed to mean that he needed items from the market to fabricate precious treasures to protect Lin Feng. Lin Feng was skeptical but bought everything Qiongqi wanted. He couldn't do much more. He was rich with intent crystals, so it wasn't a problem. Sniff sniff. Qiongqi stopped and grabbed the bottom of Lin Feng's trousers with its mouth. Lin Feng had told him not to speak, instead to find a way that doesn't draw other people's attention. Lin Feng looked at Qiongqi. Each time it wanted something, it did that. Did Cheong-chi find an extremely powerful item? Cheong-chi looked in one direction. There was a vendor's booth where there were skills and techniques, Tian-level skills, which made Lin Feng curious. Lin Feng looked at Cheong-chi, he didn't understand. Did Cheong-chi want to learn new skills? Cheong-chi walked towards a picture scroll. It was a white picture scroll with nothing on it. Why was it with other Tian-level skills? Your beast is smart. Surprisingly, it saw that picture scroll, said the street vendor smiling. He looked at Lin Feng and said, even though there's nothing on that picture scroll, it is absolutely something special. Weapons, water, fire, anything, that scroll is an extremely precious weapon, but I've never heard of how strong cultivators use it. Even if it's powerful, there's nothing on it. It's a piece of paper, said Lin Feng while shaking his head and smiling. The old man was a good businessman. Whatever Lin Feng looked at, the man would tell him it's a great item. What do you want for it? Asked Lin Feng. It's extremely precious. I need 5 intent crystals of any type, said the old man. Lin Feng smiled wryly, that old man was full of hope. Roar! Cheong-chi roared in order to show Lin Feng that he had to agree. Lin Feng was skeptical, but maybe Cheong-chi had discovered something. All right. I'll buy it, said Lin Feng while nodding. He took out 5 intent crystals and gave them to the old man. Cheong-chi immediately grabbed it and looked at it. But there was nothing on it. Lin Feng didn't understand and was annoyed. Even though intent crystals weren't that precious, he didn't want to waste them either. Chapter 9:11, The Precious Picture. After they left the market, Lin Feng asked Cheong-chi, why did you want that scroll? How could you understand? Replied Cheong-chi mockingly, which made Lin Feng feel vexed. Roar! Cheong-chi started roaring and grabbed the scroll from Lin Feng's hands. It then put it on the ground, its eyes were twinkling. Lin Feng looked at Cheong-chi but didn't say anything. Could that scroll really be special? That fire chi is incredible, that's why it drew my attention, said Cheong-chi examining the scroll. It said to Lin Feng, use fire to burn it. Even though your fire is extremely weak, it can only help. Since you criticized me, you can do it yourself, said Lin Feng. Even though he had turned into an animal, Cheong-chi hadn't changed. If I recover someday, I'll be able to spit fire at you and kill you instantly, said Cheong-chi proudly. When he realized Lin Feng was ignoring him, its tone of speech changed and he said, but now I can't do anything because my powers are restrained. You understand that the picture scroll contains incredible secrets. If you don't want to know exactly what, then forget it. You're so stubborn, said Lin Feng frowning, but he didn't forget that Cheong-chi was Yen Di. Lin Feng crouched down and put his hand on the empty picture scroll. He then released fire. His fire was scorching hot and dazzling. He released as much as he could, however, nothing happened. The old man had actually told him that it was difficult to know how to activate that scroll. No use. You can't be wrong though, said Lin Feng. He was starting to get more curious. You're the useless one, said Cheong-chi to Lin Feng. Then, he put his claws on Lin Feng's hand and made Lin Feng's hand move as if he was drawing something. Lin Feng clearly sensed something. It was as if he was drawing some mysterious marks and his fire became even more intense. That empty scroll was suddenly glowing like fire. Lin Feng suddenly moved his hand back. It was scorching hot. So hot, thought Lin Feng. He knew the Cosmos Burning Sun technique, he understood fire intent quite well. He was more talented with fire than most fire cultivators. However, after touching the empty scroll, he actually feared burning himself. Lin Feng and Cheong-chi stared at the picture scroll. It started burning but not entirely, only piece by piece. The marks they had just drawn were filled with fire strength. What a terrifying fire strength, sighed Lin Feng. As expected. How could I be wrong, said Cheong-chi proudly and arrogantly. He looked very satisfied. The fire burnt for a long time until only the ravine-like marks were left. It's a map. Lin Feng had just realized what it was. Ahsoka. Lin Feng looked at that map. He also took out another map and looked for Ahsoka on it. Both maps were very similar, so it meant that that fire map was indeed Ahsoka. Even though they looked similar, they were not entirely the same. The map he had bought before was a standard map of what Ahsoka currently looked like. The fire map was different. It was a map of what Ahsoka looked like a very, very long time ago. If Cheong-Chi hadn't found that map, Lin Feng would have never been able to find it. The initial owner of that map was probably extremely strong, otherwise, the fire on it wouldn't be that hot, whispered Lin Feng. You're ignorant, but keep talking shit, said Cheong-Chi arrogantly, glancing at Lin Feng in a despising way. He was making fun of Lin Feng again. But Cheong-Chi saw that Lin Feng was annoyed and said, that picture scroll was created 300 years ago. It is made out of a kind of leather which itself was made out of a very strong fire beast skin. It was probably a Zune-level beast. Even if a weak abstruse fire energy was used on it, it would be impossible to find out its secret. That's why nobody found its use for such a long time. The one who created the map apparently wanted to find an extremely strong fire cultivator whose level wouldn't be too far from his. What you mean to say is that the picture scroll contains a precious fire item. Lin Feng understood things quite well. Cheong-Chi was also extremely strong, so he could guess people and beasts' cultivation levels. Lin Feng lowered his head and looked at the map. As expected, that map was showing a mysterious place. The one who drew the map was telling the reader to go there. Bullshit again. If the one who drew the map didn't want people to find a secret, why would he have drawn the map? All that I hope is that the precious item is a fire-type one, said Cheong-Chi. Cheong-Chi was the Flame Emperor, only fire could help him get back his strength. Fire, whispered Lin Feng. Cheong-Chi glanced at Lin Feng and said in a despising way, you understand nothing. You don't know what real fire is. Fire is infinitely powerful, even though your Cosmos Sun skill is not bad, it is still lacking. Against real fire skills, you'll burn to ashes in the blink of an eye. Lin Feng was surprised. Lin Feng didn't understand as much as Cheong-Chi, but was he really that weak? What did it mean to be a real fire cultivator? Hurry up and take the map. We're going to that place, said Cheong-Chi impatiently. He needed real fire. Lin Feng put the map away and said to Cheong-Chi, let's go back. Roar. Cheong-Chi said to Lin Feng, what do you mean? Why now? We're not done with my business, said Lin Feng indifferently. Roar. Cheong-Chi showed his teeth to Lin Feng. Lin Feng punched Cheong-Chi and said, even though you're an emperor, I am your master right now. Don't bare your teeth at me. Lin Feng then headed for the city center. Cheong-Chi was proud and wanted nothing more than to get back his power. Lin Feng was aware of that and wary of it. Roar. Cheong-Chi was really angry. Lin Feng still didn't clearly understand the purpose of the meeting. But he knew he didn't have time to go treasure hunting with Cheong-Chi. A strong cultivator had hidden a treasure somewhere a few hundred years ago, so it probably wasn't that easy to find. Lin Feng was more concerned about Tianqi. Lin Feng arrived in the city center of Ahsoka where people were gathering for the Great Sect meeting. Lin Feng found out that many extremely strong cultivators had come just for this meeting. Cultivators of the first Tianqi layer were insects in the middle of this crowd. A majority were cultivators at the top of the Tianqi layer, which made Lin Feng worry even more. Chapter 9:12 Ahsoka Mountain. There was a mountain in Ahsoka which used to be considered a holy place in ancient times, but later on, it gradually became a normal place where cultivators who were not so strong went. The Ahsoka Mountain was vast, as big as a small town. This was where the meeting would be held. There were 3 peaks which symbolized a tripartite balance of power. Between those 3 peaks was a huge flatland that was a few hundred kilometers wide. It was perfect for a large meeting. There were 3 more days until the great sect meeting started. After Lin Feng figured all of this out, he went to Ahsoka Mountain but decided not to talk much. Now and then, he'd go to a bar and drink some alcohol. Once in a while, people would look at Xiong-Chi enviously. In the evening, the lightened streets of Ahsoka Mountain were calm and peaceful. Many people had taken refuge around and on the 3 peaks to practice cultivation alone. Sometimes, there were also groups of people taking a stroll. Lin Feng, Xiong-Chi, and Xue Linglong were there. Xiong-Chi was unhappily following Lin Feng and would sometimes roar. Xue Linglong was always happy to be on Lin Feng's shoulder. There was a large stage that had been set up. Lin Feng could imagine Jade Heaven as well as the East Sea Dragon Palace and Shangong's people plotting against Tianqi. Lin Feng asked Xiong-Chi, couldn't we use a deployment technique with the mysterious marks? Idiot. There are so many people practicing cultivation here. Even though I can carve marks without making any sound, I need abstruse crystals and the chi from the abstruse crystals would definitely draw people's attention. Do you think all those people are as stupid as you? Lin Feng seemed thoughtful. Xiong-Chi was right, if they used abstruse crystals, Zun cultivators would definitely smell it and they would be doomed. But if I used flame energy to carve marks, even Zun cultivators wouldn't be able to smell it. Xiong-Chi raised his head and sighed. But Lin Feng smiled and said, you're Yen Di. That should be a piece of cake for you, right? Xiong-Chi looked even prouder. I can do that for you, but first you need to come with us to the secret place on the map. We need to see if there is something I could use there. Damn animal, thought Lin Feng, but he said, alright, but we're in a hurry now so we need to do that here and then we can go treasure hunting. Xiong-Chi looked at Lin Feng and said, alright, but if you try to fool me, you'll die. Don't worry, I will never try to fool you. Lin Feng said. They went onto the stage and Lin Feng took out some abstruse crystals from his ring and gave them to Xiong-Chi. He needed Xiong-Chi to ruin this great sect meeting. Xiong-Chi, said Lin Feng. Some people were coming and one of them was wearing a strange robe. Half of it looked like it was made of fire and the other half of ice. That person looked at Xiong-Chi, but Xiong-Chi lowered his head and continued walking. Lin Feng looked at that young man with curiosity. Another extremely powerful young man. He was young and as strong as the young man in white clothes he had seen last time, the 3rd Tianqi layer. The other young people with him were much younger, but none of them had a level inferior to the Tianqi layer. After they disappeared, Xiong-Chi whispered, that young man is extremely strong, if you ever encounter him, be very careful of his fire. Even worse, it's mixed with ice. Xiong-Chi was actually praising that young man. He reminded Lin Feng of Lin Qian, who had both an ice and fire soul. Too bad that Lin Qian was so proud. Alright, can we get going? Asked Lin Feng. Xiong-Chi nodded and slowly lowered his head. There was no chi and nobody could see him or smell his energies. Although Lin Feng trusted him, he was worried that people could discover Xiong-Chi. Time passed slowly as Lin Feng released his godly awareness and scouted the surroundings. At the beginning, he could see Xiong-Chi, but after a few minutes, he couldn't. Lin Feng was surprised. Could Xiong-Chi hide that well? Lin Feng felt even more relieved. Lin Feng hid in a dark place in order to not draw attention. A long time passed and Lin Feng opened his eyes. Xiong-Chi came to him looking satisfied. Are you done? Asked Lin Feng. Bullshit. When I do something, I always succeed. When I get back to my normal state, I will show you what it means to be an emperor, said Xiong-Chi, which made Lin Feng smile. Alright. We're done, so let's go now, said Xiong-Chi. Alright, let's compare the 2 maps first, said Lin Feng while taking out the 2 maps. One could clearly see the paths on the new map, but the other one was very old and blurry, so comparing both maps was the best way to find the target destination. We need to find a mountain range, said Xiong-Chi. There were a few mountain ranges in Ahsoka. However, Lin Feng couldn't find the one on the map. Strange, whispered Lin Feng. Lin Feng couldn't find it and Cheong Chi found it strange too. "Look, here," said Cheong Chi pointing at place on the old map. Then, he pointed to Asoka Mountain on the new map and they looked alike. It seemed like the treasure was in Asoka Mountain. However, there were 3 mountains in Asoka Mountain, but the area on the old map seemed gigantic. Could it be that the Asoka Mountains have changed in the past 300 years? Chapter 9:13, Clash of the Geniuses. If this is Asoka Mountain, then which of the 3 mountains are we talking about? Lin Feng was staring at the map. The fire wasn't showing a precise place. On the old map, it almost seemed like the 3 mountains were together, but nowadays, which mountain was the right one? Lin Feng looked at both maps again but didn't find anything. The treasure had to be in Asoka Mountain. If a war had occurred a few hundred years ago, why had the 3 mountains remained intact? Cheong Chi said to Lin Feng, "We're going there." "All right." Lin Feng nodded. Lin Feng hadn't thought that the same place where the great sect meeting was would be the same location as their treasure. Was it a coincidence or had someone done that on purpose? If it were a coincidence, were they the only ones who knew about the treasure? Or were they the only ones? Could there be other people hunting the treasure? "Let's go." Lin Feng started walking and Cheong Chi followed him. He was more interested in treasure hunting than in the great sect meeting. That map was made by an incredible fire cultivator. If he could get it, maybe he could become much stronger again. After all, he was the Flame Emperor Yen Di. He had chosen Cheong Chi's body because Cheong Chi was a fire beast, so it was more beneficial for him. The Asoka Mountain was famous in Asoka history. There were many legends in Asoka about a strong cultivator who practiced cultivation there. Lin Feng and Cheong Chi's silhouettes flickered. From afar, they thought the 3 mountains weren't that far away, but getting there actually took much more time than they thought. When they arrived at the center of the 3 mountains, Lin Feng saw many people. Why were those people silently practicing cultivation there? Especially in the middle of the 3 mountains. "It's him." Lin Feng saw the young man in white clothes. It was the one with the wind soul and was extremely strong. The beautiful girl was also there with him. There were many Tian-level cultivators as well. Many were wearing the same clothes as those who had attacked him. They were probably members of the Xiaoyao sect. Who is he? Lin Feng wondered. The Xiaoyao sect was powerful in the Ganyu region, but surprisingly, they respected the young man in white clothes and admired him. They almost acted like servants around him. Lin Feng was wondering whether that young man was a high-class disciple of the Xiaoyao sect. But at that moment, apart from the young man wearing white clothes and his group, there were other people who seemed to be confronting them. Especially another young man of the same level, the 3rd Tian Qi layer. There was another group as well which consisted of a young woman and a young man who were about the same age. The young man had broken through to the 4th Tian Qi layer and the young woman through to the 3rd. She was wearing a red skirt and looked beautiful. So many strong cultivators from Ganyu. Imagine fighting against them. Could you defeat them? Asked Cheong Chi as if he was gloating over Lin Feng's misfortune. Lin Feng's opponents were usually weaker than him, so Lin Feng easily despised them. But now, those people seemed extremely strong and powerful. Right now, they were in the middle of the 3 mountains of Asoka Mountain. Was it a coincidence? Lin Feng knew that Cheong Chi was right. Those people were extremely strong and extraordinary and so on. As if the young man in white clothes sensed something, he turned around and looked in Lin Feng and Cheong Chi's direction. He suddenly had a strange facial expression. "You're here," said the young man, surprised. According to what the guy from the Xiaoyao sect had told him, Lin Feng had killed those people last time. Surprisingly, Lin Feng was now inside the Asoka Mountains. He must be here because of the great sect meeting, thought the young man. He glanced at Lin Feng and Cheong Chi and then turned around again. Indeed, the one he was currently fighting was more important than Lin Feng. The others saw that the young man in white clothes seemed to know Lin Feng, so they glanced at him too. Then, they turned around again. That was just a cultivator of the first Tianqi layer. In their eyes, he was just a nobody and didn't deserve their attention. At that moment, Tian Lin slowly rose up in the air and released a terrifying qi. The members of the Xiaoyao sect and Tian Lin didn't look scared at all. "Since you challenged us, come and fight," said the young man aggressively at Tian Lin. His robe was fluttering in the wind and he looked sharp. "Look. Who are you? How dare you challenge Tian Lin," said a member of the Xiaoyao sect. Tian Lin was an aristocrat. Even their patriarch respected him. "Let's fight first," said that young man who had also broken through to the third Tianqi layer. Then, Tian Lin threw himself at the aggressive young man. However, the aggressive young man didn't even glance at Lin Feng and prevented him from moving. His blood was boiling like a raging ocean. A dazzling golden light appeared and a golden pattern appeared behind that young man. It slowly rolled in the air. Slash, the golden wheel suddenly started moving. In a flash, the members of the Xiaoyao sect were surrounded by that light and they fell down from the sky dead. "What a powerful soul," sighed Lin Feng. It was similar to Tian Lin's soul in that it could easily kill people using their soul. "You've never seen an emperor's descendant, their souls are terrifying," whispered Qiong Qi. "The stronger the ancestors, the stronger the offspring's souls. Zun cultivators can transmit their blood and the peculiarities it contains." Lin Feng nodded. The world of cultivation was unfair where talent was just a matter of transmission. Some people had everything from their birth while others had to rely on themselves. Lin Feng didn't know how long ago his ancestor, the Zun cultivator, had lived on his mother's side, but they still inherited his soul from generation to generation. However, their strength was still proportional to other Shuiyu's souls. In many places, there were people whose parents were Zun-level emperors and they were much stronger than someone whose ancestor was a Zun cultivator from hundreds of years before. As Qiong Qi had said, emperors' children were extremely strong. Chapter 9:14, Confrontation. Qiong Qi looked at Lin Feng and saw that his eyes were twinkling. He was seizing each opportunity to bully Lin Feng. Of course, the conditions at birth were important, but the cultivation conditions were also important. Those people's souls were strong and powerful and they had powerful skills and powers. Even though Lin Feng's soul wasn't as strong as theirs, he had learned extremely powerful skills and techniques and in a real fight, he would definitely be able to surprise them. Of course, for Yan Di who had been an emperor, those people weren't geniuses. Many people dreamt of being close to emperors and he had seen many sorts of such geniuses. Poor him, he was now Lin Feng's pet. He had to become stronger and someday he'd become an emperor again. For that, he needed Lin Feng's help though. If they only rely on their soul and don't know any other tricks, then they're not geniuses to me, said Lin Feng almost as if he had guessed what Qiong Qi was thinking. He smiled at Qiong Qi and added, "For example, if we were of the same cultivation level and if I could easily kill them, wouldn't I be a genius then?" Qiong Qi sighed because Lin Feng was less and less irritable. The aggressive young man's golden lights were more and more dazzling. When the members saw their fellow disciples die, they became furious. "You really want to die? How dare you kill the members of our sect?" shouted someone furiously. Their silhouettes flickered and they released a terrifying qi. "A bunch of trash. You're as bright as fireflies and yet, you think you can compete with the sun," said the aggressive young man. Slash, 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 the golden lights were extremely sharp and nothing could stop them. More people were suddenly cut by those lights. There were some more slashing sounds as more corpses kept falling down from the sky. When people tried to attack, they automatically failed. They couldn't stop those golden lights and instantly died. People behind pulled a long face and they looked dispirited. They wanted to leave but it was already too late. How could the aggressive young man let them off? In the blink of an eye, he killed all the members of the Xiaoyao sect, leaving no one alive. However, from the beginning to the end, the aggressive young man didn't move, his soul was doing all the work. Tian Lin, was it fun to send people to die for you? Come on and fight me now, said the aggressive young man. I'm not interested in fighting against someone who is so obviously insane. Many people came here, so there's no need for me to fight you. If you really want to fight, why don't you fight against her or the one with the fire and ice soul, said Tian Lin, pointing at a young man and a young woman who were siblings. Their family name was Hua and they were extremely strong and powerful. They'll have to wait their turn, first you and then them, said the aggressive young man. Nonsense. When the time is right, I'll fight you, said Tian Lin. He then moved towards Lin Feng. Coward, said the aggressive young man mockingly when he saw that Tian Lin was leaving. His soul disappeared and the golden light vanished, leaving only the moonlight. The aggressive young man then left as well. Tian Lin slowly walked towards Lin Feng and Qiong Qi. He still looked proud and arrogant. I'm surprised you survived last time, said Tian Lin indifferently yet still sounding conceited. Since you're so self-centered, you'll often be surprised in life, said Lin Feng smiling. Tian Lin seemed surprised. You're lucky that you survived before, but now you will die. The young woman seemed even more furious. Lin Feng had humiliated her and she wanted her revenge. You don't fight those of the same level as you, so you go and bully those who are weaker. Prince Tian Lin is really majestic, said the young man who hadn't talked the whole time. Brother, you understand that it's not that I was afraid to fight, it's rather that I didn't feel like it, said Tian Lin indifferently. He didn't sound angry. That's what you say, but now you're bullying an ordinary cultivator of the first Tian Qi layer. Do you think that your actions support your claim? Said the Huashi girl. The fact that a girl said that provoked Tian Lin even more. Two people are against me, alright, if he can withstand a single attack, I won't kill him, said Tian Lin, releasing his spirit. His terrifying hurricane spirit appeared again. Lin Feng could sense it and it felt like his body was going to break under the pressure. Tian Lin did as he wished because he didn't respect people. Lin Feng was nothing in his eyes. If the siblings hadn't said anything, Lin Feng would be dead already, but since they had said he was too weak, he agreed to attack him only once. Do you think it's fair to use your soul to attack a cultivator of the first Tian Qi layer? Said the young woman coldly. Tian Lin was 2 layers higher than Lin Feng and had a powerful spirit. Lin Feng was an ordinary cultivator. He would probably die. How was that fair? I don't give a damn about what's fair or not. If he can withstand a single attack, that's good, if he can't, he should die, said Tian Lin. To him, there was no such thing as fairness. The cultivation world wasn't fair. You won't kill me if I can withstand your attack, said Lin Feng, smiling before adding in an indifferent way, I want to see how you will kill me then. Come and attack. You're a brave boy, said Tian Lin. His spirit appeared from his back. A hurricane moved towards Lin Feng, who could sense the power of his soul. It was quite powerful. Die, shouted Tian Lin furiously. His soul moved towards Lin Feng at full speed and shook the entire space. He only released a tiny part of his soul, but it sufficed to kill a cultivator of the first Tian Qi layer. Even a cultivator of the second Tian Qi layer without any particular power would die against this attack. Lin Feng looked at that wind, motionless. He punched the atmosphere in the direction of the hurricane. There were pale lights in his attack and his punch contained demon sealing strength. Slash, slash. Suddenly, subtle sounds spread in the air. Then, buzzing sounds spread in the air and the hurricane immediately stopped and disappeared. Tian Lin was incredulous. What a terrifying sealing power. It seemed like he had underestimated Lin Feng. The siblings were just as surprised. Wait, said Lin Feng. He raised his head and looked at Tian Lin in a despising way. Tian Lin was surprised and smiled coldly. Alright, let's try again then. Chapter 9:15. How can you be so proud? You're not respecting your promise, said the young woman. Tian Lin said he would attack only once, but now he continued the battle. Lin Feng was certainly going to die. Humph. Tian Lin groaned coldly. His soul appeared again and started rotating like a tornado. The thought of him putting his entire soul into an attack was scary. Lin Feng was still standing there as he raised his fist, which started glowing. He pushed the demon sealing strength into his fist. Seal! Shouted Lin Feng furiously. He stretched out his hand and a terrifying strength assaulted the tornado. Die! Boom! Tian Lin shouted furiously. His wind moved through the air with a fury capable of destroying anything. Such powerful attacks could easily kill ordinary cultivators of the third Tian Qi layer. How could Lin Feng resist? At that moment, Lin Feng shouted, "Break!" A fist shadow came out from his hand and fought the wind. Whistling sounds invaded the air as Lin Feng's shadow fist collided with the wind. "Disappear!" shouted Lin Feng using his demon sealing strength, and then the wind broke apart. Tian Lin's facial expression looked even colder. From his back, the wind was blowing stronger and stronger. He was struggling to kill a trivial cultivator of the first Tian Qi layer and was losing face. "That's enough," said the brother Huashi. He released some qi and attacked Tian Lin, who was propelled backwards. Lin Feng sensed the energy and jumped back before it could reach him. The young man wanted to put distance between Lin Feng and Tian Lin. "What the hell are you doing?" said Tian Lin, glancing at the young man furiously. His wind was still floating in the air. "If I remember right, you promised you won't let him off if he withstood one of your attacks, and he did. Now you're releasing more and more of your soul to attack him. Even a cultivator of the third Tian Qi layer would die against such an attack. You're shameless to attack somehow so much weaker. Don't you think?" Brother Huashi said indifferently. Tian Lin pulled a long face. He changed his mind and said he wanted to continue. "I wanted to show him how strong I am." "You're not that strong though," said Lin Feng from behind. Tian Lin was aghast and looked back at Lin Feng coldly. Lin Feng wasn't afraid. He smiled and said, "You should be able to kill people of the first and second Tian Qi layer quite easily. Now, you have broken through to the third Tian layer and you released 3 layers of your soul, and yet, you're still unable to kill me. What a disgrace." Tian Lin was enraged but couldn't contradict Lin Feng. With the strength of the third Tian Qi layer, he was unable to kill Lin Feng even though his cultivation level was lower. He even released 3 layers of his soul and still failed. Your pride is not founded. When you face weak people, you act all high and mighty. A moment ago, the guy challenged you and you refused. Instead you came and challenged me because my level is lower than yours. How dazzling. In the end, you still managed to lose face. You even violated your promise. You said that if I withstood one of your attacks, you'd let me off. You're such a coward," said Lin Feng mockingly. Tian Lin was becoming more and more furious. "You don't need to look at me that way. You never understood me. You didn't even know how strong I was. You just said you could kill me in one strike because you wanted to show the others how strong you are. In fact, you're not much different from most cultivators. When you fight against weaker people, you win. Can you guarantee that if you use your full power, that is, your whole soul, you can kill me?" said Lin Feng. Everyone was astonished, including the siblings Huashi. Lin Feng seemed quite self-confident. Could he really resist Tian Lin's whole soul? Don't try and find an excuse saying that you don't fight against weaker cultivators or something like that. Come and prove that you're strong now. Strong cultivators have defeated their own ego by your level. Really strong cultivators only fight cultivators who are stronger than them, something you must not be used to. Lin Feng said despisingly. Since that's what you want, I'll show you my strength and kill you, said Tian Lin. Lin Feng had humiliated him, he was furious. If you want to be sure, just use your full power, said Lin Feng while running at him. Tian Lin heard the brother Hua Shi say mockingly, "It seems like Prince Tian Lin can only fight weak cultivators to prove that he's strong. Let's see how this goes." "You're distracting me on purpose," said Tian Lin coldly. He then glanced at Lin Feng and said, "All right, I told him that if he withstood a single attack, I wouldn't kill him. So I won't kill him this time. However, if I see him again, I will not be so merciful. Forgive me." "You're funny," said Lin Feng shaking his head. Lin Feng really wanted to kill him, but the great sect meeting was approaching and that young man's social status seemed quite high. He couldn't use his full strength without drawing attention. He would have to wait to teach him a lesson. As they weren't battling anymore, Lin Feng and Qiong Qi left. They soon arrived in a flatland where there was nothing. There was also no sign that it was the place indicated on the old map. Even if that place was different from everything they had seen in the region so far, there should have been marks or something, but there was nothing. "What do you think?" asked Lin Feng. Qiong Qi looked around. "Give me the map," said Qiong Qi seriously. Lin Feng passed him the map and Qiong Qi examined it carefully. "Look, there are other people here." "Do you think there's only one copy of that map?" said Qiong Qi. On a beast, that facial expression looked quite strange. "If they came here, they might have a map too," replied Lin Feng. Qiong Qi nodded and looked pensive. "Let's go," said Qiong Qi turning around. Lin Feng asked him, "Did you find something out?" Qiong Qi looked at Lin Feng, remained silent for a few seconds and said, "Am I not an emperor? A little insect seems to think he can teach me something. Of course I understood everything. All we have to do now is go and pick up the treasure." Chapter 9:16. The teacher arrived. Lin Feng smiled and said, "Why are the two maps different then, and where is the precious treasure?" "How could you understand anyway? You're just a basic cultivator of the Tian Qi layer. Telling you is a waste of breath." It was difficult to get information from Qiong Qi. He despised Lin Feng, but he didn't know that Lin Feng secretly despised him too. Qiong Qi made fun of Lin Feng because he was a Tian-level cultivator, but he was forgetting that he was a Xian-level beast. "Someone cast a huge space spell here," said Qiong Qi. He seemed very serious at that moment. A huge space spell. Lin Feng immediately thought of Shengong, the mysterious world, and Tianya Hage, the world of the picture scroll. Weren't those places huge space spells? What is a huge space spell? Qiong Qi looked at Lin Feng in a despising way and said, "It's a spell used to create a new world out of nothing." A spell used to create a new world out of nothing. Lin Feng was perplexed. Shengong or the mysterious world could really be huge space spells. "You're so weak, you can't understand what it means. Huge space spells are used to create small worlds, of which, there are many small worlds in our world. So many that if there is a small world just next to you, if the creator doesn't want you to know, you will never know unless you're stronger. After reaching a certain cultivation level you'll be able to sense small worlds," continued Qiong Qi. "What you mean is that the treasure is in a small parallel world, but I can't see it?" asked Lin Feng. Qiong Qi nodded. He seemed pensive. "Can you open those small worlds?" asked Lin Feng. That was the most crucial aspect. "It's difficult. My current level is too low, so I need more strength," said Qiong Qi. He seemed annoyed. He knew where the world was and knew there would be incredible treasures in there, but he couldn't get them. How frustrating. As a former emperor, it was a tragedy to end up in such a state. But, if he managed to get into that world and find incredible treasures, he might be able to get back to his normal state. He couldn't miss that opportunity. "Little boy, I need your help with something else," said Qiong Qi, still talking seriously. Lin Feng looked at Qiong Qi and asked, "What do you need?" "I can't open that world. I need to borrow some strength from other strong cultivators. It could be dangerous, and the treasure hunting quest could be dangerous and difficult as well. I hope you can help me, only one time." Cheong-chi didn't seem like he was joking and he didn't look arrogant anymore. He looked extremely serious. He almost looked human. "All right," said Lin Feng, nodding. Cheong-chi was pleasantly surprised. He hadn't thought Lin Feng would accept so quickly. "Are you sure?" asked Cheong-chi. "What?" Lin Feng shouted furiously, "I've told you that we're partners now, we're a team. You help me, I help you." Roar. Cheong-chi roared. Lin Feng had his moments, it seemed. "If you find incredible treasures, don't forget about me though," said Lin Feng. Cheong-chi just looked at him in a despising and ferocious way. He didn't look as nice as a few seconds before. "Where are you going?" shouted Lin Feng. "I need to prepare something." "If the little world can't be opened, how will we get in?" said Cheong-chi as it walked into a dark area. Lin Feng wasn't in a hurry either. In the darkness, Lin Feng sat down cross-legged and started practicing cultivation. The more he practiced cultivation, the more he understood that he wasn't strong enough. Lin Feng was confident in his abilities. His level was inferior to those geniuses' levels, but he hadn't practiced cultivation for such a long time and he wasn't born in perfect conditions to practice cultivation. It wasn't a problem though. He just had to persevere. After all, those geniuses didn't have such a strong skill set as his. At that moment, from the darkness, someone approached Lin Feng. That person looked like an ordinary old man. He wasn't releasing any qi. Lin Feng suddenly opened his eyes and released a terrifying amount of qi. He was ready to attack. "Little Lin Feng, it's me," said a voice Lin Feng knew all too well. In a flash, his qi disappeared. Lin Feng looked at the old man and frowned, he couldn't believe it. "That's good, you recognized me," said the old man with a gentle smile. "Teacher?" Lin Feng was speechless. His voice sounded febrile. "What's wrong?" "You can hide your face, but I can't," said the old man giggling. It was Mr. Bai, the Snow Zune cultivator. His teacher was doing the exact same thing as him, he had changed his face so people couldn't recognize him anymore. "You couldn't recognize me, so I must be good at transforming. People who don't know me that well won't be able to recognize me even," said the old man smiling. He seemed satisfied. "Teacher, how come you're here?" asked Lin Feng. "Besides, how did you find me?" Lin Feng was worried. In Ahsoka Mountain, there were many strong cultivators and the purpose of the Great Sect meeting was to plot against Tian-Chi. It was quite dangerous to be there. On top of that, the one who had taught Lin Feng how to change his face was Mr. Xiao Ye's grandfather. How could his teacher find him? "Some people want to destroy Tian-Chi, our empire. I can't let my people face that danger alone. Besides, you're here, so am I, is that so surprising?" whispered the Zune cultivator. "Concerning the fact that I found you, don't forget that I am one of the owners of the Tian Xian stone which you have with you now. With it, I can find you anywhere." "I see." Lin Feng hadn't though his teacher could find him because of the Tian Xian stone. "Teacher, everything that's happening to Tian-Chi is my fault," said Lin Feng. He felt guilty. "What do you mean?" "It's not every day that you have such a great disciple. It's an honor for Tian Xian. Tian-Chi needs you to rise up," said the old man shaking his head. "Don't worry too much about Tian-Chi, you need to practice cultivation serenely. Don't let other things influence you. Concerning that stupid Great Sect meeting, do they really think they can bully Tian-Chi that easily? Tomorrow morning, some people are going to pay the price for their actions," said the old man with sharp cold lights in his eyes. Some people wanted to destroy Tian-Chi and one of its disciples. Tian-Chi obviously wouldn't let that happen. They never let their fellows down. "All right," said Lin Feng with a magnificent smile on his sick-looking face. Chapter 9:17, Beat Around the Mountain to Scare the Tiger. Cheong-Chi came back after a long time. The old man was surprised to see that Lin Feng had an ancient beast with him. He stared at Cheong-Chi, as if trying to read through him. Qiongqi sensed that the old man was trying to inspect him, so he roared loudly and lowered his head. He didn't want to stare at the old man. That old man is extremely strong, especially his godly awareness, thought Qiongqi. He used to be an emperor and still thought that the old man was extraordinary. He wasn't a high-level Zun cultivator, but his awareness was incredible, his blood too. The old man had a very strong blood strength. The old man had the feeling that there was something strange about Qiongqi, but he couldn't tell what. He gave up and used telepathy to talk to Lin Feng. Little Lin Feng, there's something strange about that beast. I know. Don't worry, teacher, I know it quite well. He didn't want to hide anything from his teacher, but Qiongqi's story was very sad, so there was no need to tell everyone about it. If strong cultivators heard the story, it could get dangerous for the both of them. He was an emperor, that was more precious than any item in the world. If people knew about him, they would go insane. Since you know about it already, there's no need to talk about it. I'm off, said the old man. He then disappeared in the darkness of the night. My teacher is going into the tiger's den, thought Lin Feng, looking at his teaching disappearing in the darkness. He hoped nothing would happen to him and that nobody would recognize him. Have you heard about what happened to Shengong? Someone said in a bar. Of course, who hasn't? Tianqi is a very powerful group and they are rising up, it seems. Sending strong cultivators to destroy Shengong is an act of bravery. I think it's one of the hottest pieces of gossip in Ganyu. Indeed. Shengong was also one of the most powerful groups in Ganyu, but in one night, they collapsed. Apart from Ye Qing and the strong cultivators he brought here, the others were all killed by Tianqi. As of today, it almost doesn't exist anymore. Getting back to what they used to be will be extremely difficult in the future. Tianqi's people are brutal. Someone from Tianqi went to Shengong and killed so many of their strong cultivators. Then he left without any resistance. He also said that next time, he would come back with more Zun cultivators, and that's what he did. He went to Shengong and destroyed them completely, in one night. Everybody was talking about the same things. Shengong had been destroyed by Tianqi, what incredible news. Shut the hell up, shouted someone furiously from inside the bar. The walls of the bar were trembling from his voice. People turned around and looked at the one who had just talked. They wanted to make fun of that person, but that person's chi was so scary that the crowd remained silent. That person was probably from Shengong, otherwise, he wouldn't have been that furious. Lin Feng was also in that bar. He heard all the stories about Shengong and so on. Finally, Lin Feng understood what price Mr. Bai was talking about. Tianqi had started their assault. After news of this spread, many strong cultivators from the East Sea Dragon Palace and Jade Heaven hurried back to their country. They were worried that Tianqi would do the same to them, destroy their group while they were away. Many influential groups weren't as confident anymore. They seemed to forget that Tianqi's Zun cultivators were alive and could walk. If they wanted, they could leave Tianqi and take advantage of this meeting. The crowd understood Tianqi's message. By annihilating Shengong, they were telling everyone that participating at the Great Sect meeting would make them enemies. Because Shengong was involved in the meeting, many people were starting to leave. They didn't want to end up like them, however. At that moment, an extremely loud voice spread in the air. The Great Sect meeting is starting earlier. Everybody go to the meeting point in Asoka Mountain, right now. Early, people raised their heads. Shengong had been destroyed. The other influential groups were scared and wanted to start the meeting earlier. New problems cropped up unexpectedly because they were wasting time. Nobody could say that they could defeat Tianqi on their own, therefore, they needed this meeting. The voice resonated everywhere in Asoka Mountain and everybody heard it. Although everybody was surprised, they understood that Tianqi forced some hands to be played. Everybody walked towards the meeting point. They didn't know how many groups would participate in destroying Tianqi. Lin Feng was in the crowd as well. He remained absolutely silent. My friend, said someone who tapped on Lin Feng's shoulder. Lin Feng turned around and saw a young man and a young woman smiling at him, the Huasher siblings. "What's your name again, my friend?" asked the young man. He was talking in a simple way but he looked extremely rich. "My family name is Lin," said Lin Feng smiling. "Lin?" The young man frowned and smiled. "Lately, a certain person whose family name is Lin and first name is Feng is at the center of all conversations. Brother Lin, do you know that Lin Feng? I've heard of him but I've never seen him." "I've never seen him either. There are many rumors about him. I wish I could see him someday." "Maybe you will see him today," said Lin Feng jokingly. "It's a pleasure to meet you. What trick did you use last night to release sealing strength and oppress Tian Lin's soul?" whispered the young man. How could Lin Feng, who had only broken through to the first Tian Qi layer, dominate Tian Lin, who had broken through to the third Tian Qi layer? That was absolutely rare. "Ha, that was nothing powerful. You managed to push us both, Tian Lin and I, away." "That was scary," replied Lin Feng. "What are you talking about?" said the young man shaking his head. "Brother Lin, if we have great opportunities because of this great sect meeting, I hope that you'll obtain some great treasures as well." After that, both of them remained silent. The young man seemed like he knew what was going to happen during the great sect meeting. Chapter 9:18, Lu's face. "Brother Hua, you, Prince Tian Lin and another young man are not from Ganyu, right?" asked Lin Feng. The young man smiled and said, "Indeed. I come from very, very far away." "The place where you come from must have much stronger cultivators and geniuses than Ganyu," said Lin Feng. This made the young man smile indifferently. "I'm not a genius. There are many people who are much stronger than me where I come from. If you ever have the opportunity, you can go and see. If you tell me where you're from, I'll definitely go and visit," replied Lin Feng. "I'm from the Holy City, have you ever heard of it?" said the young man smiling. Lin Feng was astonished. The Holy City was at the center of the continent of the 9 clouds, some of the strongest cultivators in the world were there. "Of course I've heard of it. You come from there?" "Kind of," replied the young man smiling indifferently. Lin Feng didn't ask much. Even though he was curious, his interlocutor didn't seem to want to tell him much. What did he mean by, "kind of," though? Both arrived at the meeting point in the middle of the 3 peaks and were met by many people. There were all sorts of people. Some people were unruly, others had just come to see what the meeting was about and to enjoy magnificent landscapes. Would the great sect meeting really work? Brother, Jade Heaven, the East Sea Dragon Palace and Shingong organized the meeting together, but now Shingong has been destroyed. Who do you think will act as the leader? Prince Duanmu from Jade Heaven or King Dragon from the East Sea Dragon Palace?" asked Lin Feng. The young man had a very high status. He might know about these things. "Perhaps, none of them," said the young man indifferently. This stimulated Lin Feng's curiosity. "Who then?" "You'll know soon enough, brother," said the young man smiling in a resplendent way as if he knew what was going on behind the scenes. More and more people were gathering. There were many sects and groups, about 1,000. There were 1,000,000 cultivators in total. If they had all been flying in the sky, the sunlight wouldn't have found a gap. At that moment, a dazzling light appeared in the sky. People were surprised. 3 silhouettes appeared: King Dragon from the East Sea Dragon Palace, Duanmu from Jade Heaven and Miaqing from Shingong. Many people looked at them with admiration. Those 3 were leaders of powerful groups in Ganyu. It was an incredible scene to see those 3 extremely strong cultivators walking together. Of course, there were many extremely strong cultivators in the crowd who didn't look at them with as much admiration. The leader of the 9 Cloud Swords sect, the leader of the Xiaoyao sect and the leader of the Necropolis sect were also there. There were many, many strong cultivators in Asoka Mountain at that moment. "We are delighted to see so many people here for the great sect meeting," said the 3 leaders at the same time. Even though they were satisfied to see so many people, they didn't really show it. We don't need to tell you much, you have already heard the news since you're here, said King Dragon before adding, Tianqi's people are ruthless and shameless. They destroyed Shingang while Miaqing and some of his strongest cultivators weren't there. All the strongest cultivators of Tianqi took advantage of the situation and utterly destroyed Shingang. Tianqi is in a killing frenzy and they kill without principles. They're trying to take over Ganyu by eliminating all their competitors. Their disciples also killed a great deal of people. Many people disappeared in the mysterious world except for Tianqi's people. We don't know what kind of trick they resorted to achieve that. With such people around, we won't be able to protect Ganyu for long. The crowd remained silent. They all understood that if Tianqi took over Ganyu, then the situation would become dangerous for them too. Of course, another problem was that Lin Feng had a precious treasure which he had received from the mysterious world. Ridiculous, someone said, breaking the silence. Everybody heard that person. Surprisingly, someone dared challenge the King Dragon. He was humiliating the three leaders and all of their backing. Many people looked around, but couldn't see the person who said that. It was as if the voice had come from every side. The three leaders in the air were terribly angry. They glanced around but couldn't see anything either. Surprisingly, nobody could find who that person was. If you're not a coward, come out. No need to hide like a weakling, shouted King Dragon furiously. If you're not even able to find me, then go searching for excuses, said the voice again. King Dragon looked angrier and angrier. He lowered his head and looked at the crowd. The people who he looked at were terrified and would lower their heads. It couldn't be them. You called people to help you destroy Tianqi. Should they sit and wait for death? The fact that Tianqi destroyed Shingang proves that Shingang consists of a bunch of crappy cultivators, said the voice. It was rolling through the sky, coming from every direction. If you have balls, come out to talk, said Miaqing, again trying to antagonize him. Come out and get killed by all the people who will accept to help you. If you're such a crappy cultivator that you can't even find me, don't try and find excuses, said the voice. The crowd remained silent. Someone dared disturb the great sect meeting. Was that person from Tianqi? Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling. He couldn't be sure that the person was his teacher, but he admired them. However, if it was his teacher, it seemed like he had underestimated his strength. His teacher went to Shingang alone and killed many people, uncontested. He had even killed 2 Zun cultivators. In the past, he was just his teacher, but now he understood that Mr. Bai wasn't an ordinary old man. The 3 leaders in the sky pulled a long face. The great sect meeting had just started and someone was already disturbing them. They didn't know what to do or where to look. They felt humiliated. That person has an extremely strong soul and understands the strength of the earth and sky to a high degree, explained the brother Huashe. He wouldn't have thought that he'd see such powers in Ganyu. Not bad. The 3 leaders in the sky weren't weak, but they weren't strong enough. The 3 leaders glanced around. King Dragon said again, if you have any balls, there's no need to hide. However, there was no voice. The one who had interrupted before had seemingly left. The 3 leaders looked extremely angry. That person had just played with them as mere toys. Chapter 919, Imperial Cultivation Disciple. The atmosphere remained silent for a long time. The one who had talked wouldn't come out. King Dragon continued talking, Tianqi is sly, they are wild beasts. In the mysterious world, everybody disappeared but their members. We don't know what happened to the rest, maybe they're dead, or maybe they are prisoners. They resort to incredibly evil methods to take over Ganyu. If we don't destroy Tianqi, we're all doomed. We need to destroy Tianqi. If we all survive, things can go back to normal. If many of us die, we'll avenge them, said Duanmu. If we don't destroy Tianqi, how could all the other sects keep rising, said Miaqing. Tianqi had destroyed Shingang, that was already a tragedy for them. The three leaders were using strong and biased words to convince the crowd. They wanted to recruit everyone to their side using fear. Today, we need to find a leader who will bring everybody together against Tianqi, said King Dragon. The crowd was surprised. Indeed, a leader was essential. He would lead 1,000 sections. The three leaders had organized the great sect meeting, but in the crowd, there were even stronger cultivators. If one of the three leaders led the war, they might fail. Of course, the leader can only be someone who is here, and they must want to destroy Tianqi from the bottom of their heart. I know that there are many incredibly strong people in the crowd. Those who don't care can simply leave. Only those who are actually motivated to destroy Tianqi can stay here, said King Dragon. Wow, whispered Lin Feng. Those who had come out of curiosity or for their reputation were treated like good-for-nothings. Choosing a leader for such a big undertaking is a normal thing, said the Huasher brother, smiling indifferently. King Dragon continued talking. I will give you a minute. If you're not really motivated, you can piss off and leave this mountain. Those who don't leave will stay here and go to the war against Tianqi. They will also be able to vote for the leader. If anyone stays and violates our agreement, we'll kill them. Indeed. If you're not motivated or if you're a traitor, piss off, said Miaqing. 1 minute. People started talking. If they stayed, they had to go to war against Tianqi. If they left, they would lose face. Besides, they wouldn't know who the leader would be. They would also miss the war. Many people were hesitating. Very few people immediately left because they were too weak. Going to war would be the same as suicide to them. Lin Feng glanced at the crowd. Not many people left, which made him feel uncomfortable. It meant people were tacitly agreeing to go to war against Tianqi. 1 minute passed. The three leaders looked at the very few people who left and smiled indifferently. Tianqi was going to be destroyed. Since you decided to stay here, it means you will fight against Tianqi. From now on, we're one army. If anyone wants to leave or betrays us, they'll die, said King Dragon. Until they annihilated Tianqi, nobody was allowed to leave. They had to annihilate Tianqi together. Alright. I'll now introduce you to a few real geniuses, said King Dragon. People were surprised. Couldn't they choose a leader themselves? Why did he have to introduce the real geniuses? What did the word genius mean to him? If you're a real genius, please come onto the stage, said King Dragon. At that moment, the Huasher brother nodded at Lin Feng and said, Brother Lin, come onto the stage. Don't decline to shoulder your responsibilities because you think you're not a genius. Lin Feng instantly understood what Huasher was telling him. King Dragon, Duanmu, and Miaqing probably knew who the geniuses were already. No need for me to go. You go and stop worrying about me, said Lin Feng politely. How could he go onto the stage? The Huasher brother had said that just like that, he couldn't know Lin Feng's background. He nodded at Lin Feng and stepped onto the stage. Apart from the Huasher brother, Lin Feng saw Tian Lin. There was also the aggressive young man against whom Tian Lin had refused to fight and the young man with the ice and fire chi. 6 people, but in reality, there were only 4, the Huasher siblings counted as 1, Tian Lin and his girlfriend counted as 1 as well. The crowd was surprised. They were all extremely young but so strong already. They all had an incredible chi that people were envious of. Those young people come from the holy city, said King Dragon, smiling indifferently. People were all astonished. The holy city. They knew about it, but it was extremely far away. It was the holy place of the continent of the 9 clouds where most of the strongest cultivators came from. The holy city was also surrounded by 8 territories, 10 cities, and incredibly powerful high-level empires. They all harbored extremely powerful cultivators. Surprisingly, some of those people had come for this war. Xiaoyao sect, come here for some introductions, said King Dragon, looking at someone in the crowd. That person jumped onto the stage using the Xiaoyao agility technique. It was the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. All right, said the patriarch smiling. He then added, I don't know all those geniuses, I only know one of them, Prince Tianlin. He smiled and continued, King Dragon is right. They're all from the Holy City. Besides, the Xiaoyao sect is a daughter sect to which Prince Tianlin belongs. You probably knew about it already if you understood the hierarchy of our sections. The Xiaoyao sect was an influential group in Ganyu. Most people obviously understood how the Xiaoyao sect worked. The main sect was the godly Xiaoyao sect. They had an emperor and possessed incredible powers. The Xiaoyao sect was just a little sect which depended on the godly Xiaoyao sect. Tianlin came from there. No wonder that he was so extraordinary. Apart from Tianlin, there are other geniuses, who are all experienced cultivators. Of course, they all have the same social status too, they are all imperial cultivation disciples. Imperial cultivation disciples. The crowd was astonished. Imperial cultivation disciples, emperor's direct descendants. Incredible. Those people were all emperor's disciples. Did it mean that they had the opportunity to see real emperors? Lin Feng's eyes twinkled as he looked over at Qiongqi. Qiongqi was looking at those people in a despising way and said, trivial and insignificant imperial cultivation disciples. They don't even have the opportunity to see emperors. What is so good about that? I also had a myriad of disciples in the past, but I only knew a few. Yan Di was still referring to his glorious past, but what did it mean to be an imperial cultivation disciple? Chapter 920, Fighting Power. Do those people really have an emperor as a teacher? Asked Lin Feng. It's just a name. Those who really receive the emperor's teachings are rare. It's just a name for glory. Many people become imperial cultivation disciples, but it's just a way of show-off. But they do receive several privileges. Besides, the stronger a cultivation emperor is, the more people will want to become their disciple, whispered Qiongqi. He used to be an emperor. For him, it meant nothing. For Lin Feng it was different. For Lin Feng, those imperial cultivation disciples were really lucky. For an emperor, of course, they were just low-level cultivators. Those who were particularly skilled and talented could sometimes receive a few private teachings from the emperor, and those who were really strong could sometimes become direct disciples of the emperor. Then, it can't be only one sect, can it? Whispered Lin Feng. Imperial cultivation disciples were a bit like those high-ranking officials in the antiquity who could have their own disciples and schools. Emperors attracted lots of cultivators and many geniuses. Those sects and schools could become extremely powerful influential groups. Qiongqi glanced at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was somewhat smart. Imperial cultivation disciples represented a large group of influence with many different schools of thought. If an emperor had a problem, all the subsequent sects would help him. When the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect saw people's expressions, he laughed and said, if some people doubt my words, average Tian-level cultivators can come and see the truth for themselves. Of course, it's just to give it a try, the imperial cultivation disciples won't hurt you. Average Tian-level cultivators. The crowd was in a daze. Those imperial cultivation disciples had, apart from one person who had broken through to the 4th Tian-Chi layer, all of them had broken through to the 3rd and 2nd Tian-Chi layers, but the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was inviting average Tian-level cultivators, which meant of the 5th Tian-Chi layer. It seemed like cultivators of the same level had no chance against them. Many people were hesitating. The imperial cultivation disciples seemed extremely strong. At the same time, they wanted to see how strong they were. They were wondering what the difference between people who came from the holy city and them was. I'll give it a try, said someone proudly while jumping up in the air. That cultivator had broken through to the 3rd Tian-Chi layer. Did that mean that they thought that they were as strong as the imperial cultivation disciples? Prince Tianli, I have also broken through to the 3rd Tian-Chi layer. Feel free to offer me your advice. Prince Tianlin was a member of the godly Xiaoyao sect and an imperial cultivation disciple. Being able to fight against him was an honor. "Alright, let's fight," said Prince Tianlin. He looked both proud and calm. An ordinary cultivator of the third Tian Qi layer wanted to fight against him, but they stood no chance. Alright, the cultivators started dancing about. He understood wind intent, level 4 wind intent in fact. That's why he was so self-confident. How fast? Not bad. How will Prince Tianlin react? The challenger wasn't bad, thought the crowd. Bzzz, a whirlwind appeared behind Prince Tianlin which contained an oppressive strength. Boom! An explosion sounded and a silhouette flew away. Their clothes were torn apart and the wind was following him. "You're way too weak," said Prince Tianlin mockingly. His wind disappeared and his opponent's wind disappeared. What kind of soul is that? Many people were surprised. They understood that there was never a weak soul, only a weak cultivator. Prince Tianlin glanced at the crowd proudly. He was an imperial cultivation disciple and proud of it. He despised all the cultivators of the Tian Qi layer in the crowd and even some Zun cultivators. Prince Tianlin was fearless and self-confident. Hee. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was satisfied and smiled. He looked at the crowd and said, "Does anyone else want to try? The best would be for the challenger to have broken, at least, through the 5th Tian Qi layer. Some other geniuses haven't fought yet." The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect really wanted average Tian level challengers. Low Tian level cultivators had no chance. "Alright, I'll try," said someone else. His fire qi was terrifying. That person had broken through to the 5th Tian Qi layer. 5th Tian Qi layer, he should be able to compete against an imperial cultivation disciple, thought the crowd. The young man stepped onto the stage and looked at someone who had long black hair. His robe was particular, half was made of fire, the other half of ice. His fire was scorching, his ice was ice cold. "You're also a fire cultivator, so you fight," said the cultivator of the 5th Tian Qi layer. The one in the black robe agreed, "Let's fight, alright." That person jumped forwards and explosion sounded. His fire was scorching hot. The young man was suddenly surrounded by fire. He released both fire and ice energies. His energy surprisingly became smaller and almost disappeared. "Fire and ice fusion strength, you can't imagine how powerful that combination is," said the young man indifferently. His energies slowly moved towards the challenger. The energy fused together with the fire from the cultivator of the 5th Tian Qi layer as if it didn't affect him. "Fire alone isn't the scariest part, fire is only terrifying when combined with ice," said the young man. Ice reached the challenger's body. The challenger sensed the fire and ice, and then fire, and then ice. It was difficult to react to it. His skin started to crack. The fire was burning his skin. It felt like 1,000 needles. The challenger gave a horrible shriek and jumped backwards. "Stop!" Many people didn't understand what had happened. Only the young man knew that dual intent was terrifying. The young man looked calm. His fire and ice intent disappeared as if they were never there from the start. An ordinary cultivator of the 5th Tian Qi layer was a piece of trash in his eyes. His victory was absolutely normal. The imperial cultivation disciples were terrifying. Cultivators of the same level couldn't compete with them. Lin Feng's eyes were twinkling. Why did those people use special powers to defeat the challengers? Maybe they wanted to prove to everyone that they should be chosen to be the leader of the war. Chapter 921, Looking for Trouble. No wonder they're imperial cultivation disciples, they don't need to use their full power to win, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. The crowd enjoyed watching the battles. What level did a cultivator need to be to defeat them? Cultivators of the 5th Tian Qi layer couldn't defeat them, what about cultivators of the 6th Tian Qi layer? You won't have this opportunity every day. Does anyone else want to challenge an imperial cultivation disciple? The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was smiling, but at that moment, everybody remained silent. It was pointless to fight them, they were way too strong. Even cultivators of the 5th Tian Qi layer couldn't defeat them. Besides, the geniuses weren't even using their full strength. It made challengers feel dispirited to fight such people. So, nobody else, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect smiling. He looked at everyone and said, we organized the great sect meeting to plan the war against Tian Qi. We need leaders for that. Ganyu is really big and it would be difficult to convince everyone, especially since there are so many influential groups in the region. I won't pretend to be a leader either. Those cultivators are real geniuses, they are imperial cultivation disciples. Besides, they have a very high social status so people trust them. As the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect, I decide that those imperial cultivation disciples are the leaders. Does everybody agree? What? The crowd was surprised. The crowd thought that the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect had given them the opportunity to challenge the imperial cultivation disciples to show their strength and become leaders. They hadn't thought that those imperial cultivation disciples would end up the leaders. I agree, said King Dragon. I also think that it's the best thing to do. It is even an honor for us, Ganyu's people, to have these cultivators with such a high social status become the leaders of our war against Tian Qi, said Duanmu. I agree too, said Mia Qing indifferently. The three leaders agreed. Even though I admit they are talented, the imperial cultivation disciples don't have a very high cultivation level. Aren't they too weak? Many people whispered in the crowd. Many were skeptical. They have a high social status and they are talented. We could just listen to their orders, isn't that even better, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect when he saw people's faces. So, in fact, he wanted to keep them in control. How sly, groaned Lin Feng coldly. The three leaders didn't need to say they were the leaders, they just had to put a few talented young people in the front and control them from behind. The imperial cultivation disciples wouldn't decide anything important. But in any case, behind the scenes, there was something going on between the imperial cultivation disciples and the three leaders. Indeed, said someone at that moment. Lin Feng turned around and saw a smiling old man. Teacher. Little Lin Feng, shouldn't we cause some trouble together, said the old man narrowing his eyes and looking at the stage. Lin Feng's eyes twinkled and he replied, using telepathy, Teacher, was it you a moment ago? The old man smiled and nodded. He was the one who had talked and humiliated those people. Those people wanted to join hands and destroy Tian Qi as if Tian Qi were evil. All right, teacher. Let's have some fun, said Lin Feng. He looked at the stage and said, Patriarch, why do I have the feeling that this is all staged? Everybody was stupefied and looked at him. When they saw that the one talking was a sick-looking young man with a yellow face, they looked at him in a despising way. Was he tired of living? It was surprising they accused them of such things. It was dangerous to offend the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Explain, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect looking cold. Patriarch, if you want to be the leader, organize the great sect meeting and tell everyone that you're the leader. Why do you need those imperial disciples? They're talented but that's all, said Lin Feng indifferently. People were astonished, talented but that's all. Do you not believe that they're extremely strong and that they're geniuses? Asked the patriarch. They have a high social status but they are imperial cultivation disciples, so what do they have to do with the Ganyu's internal affairs? Everybody clearly understands that those people are a bit more talented than average cultivators and that they participated in a few battles. Is that enough to convince everyone that they should become leaders? Said Lin Feng before adding, for example, if I challenge a few people and say I'm an imperial cultivation disciples, can I become a leader too? The patriarch stared at Lin Feng. He hadn't thought that someone would cause him trouble. How audacious. Come on to the stage, said the patriarch. All right. Today is the great sect meeting, I think that you can convince everybody that you are right, said Lin Feng while slowly getting onto the stage. Tian Lin was staring at Lin Feng in a cold way as he said, "You again." "Indeed," said Lin Feng smiling at Tian Lin. He then looked at the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect and said indifferently, "Patriarch, they only fought won once, and were chosen to be leaders because they possess so much social sway. If I fight against a few people and win, will that prove that I am also extremely talented, and will I be able to act as a leader? Show us first if you're even strong enough to be standing on this stage," said the patriarch while smiling coldly. "You have only broken through to the first Tian Qi layer. Fight against a cultivator of the third Tian Qi layer, and if you lose and die, it'll prove you're a piece of trash." The patriarch looked at the crowd. In a flash, someone stepped onto the stage and stared at Lin Feng. Lin Feng understood what the patriarch meant, and that person had broken through to the third Tian Qi layer. "Since you dare proclaim yourself a genius, I will make things difficult for you. If you lose, I'll kill you for causing trouble at the great sect meeting," said the one who challenged Lin Feng. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect wouldn't kill Lin Feng, but Lin Feng was saying he was a genius, so if the challenger killed him, the challenger would be considered a great warrior. Boom! That person used the Xiaoyao agility technique and it became difficult to track his movements. Lin Feng looked at that person and released his godly awareness. Everything around him suddenly seemed very clear and precise. He could see every single movement the challenger made. Die! Lin Feng didn't release any qi at all, in fact, he remained motionless. When the challenger saw that Lin Feng wasn't moving, he closed the gap. He was moving so fast that it created a strong gusts of wind. Boom! He tried to punch Lin Feng, but Lin Feng grabbed him when he got close enough. The challenger couldn't move any further. Lin Feng was gripping his hand and it seemed like he was going to crush it. Lin Feng had the strength of the Haruka and the body of a Buddha. Trying to compete with Lin Feng using physical strength was way too dangerous. Boom boom boom. Then, Lin Feng punched the challenger's throat and released some sword energy. It felt like a million swords were penetrating his throat and suddenly, he flew away. Initially, it was supposed to be a way of exchanging views on cultivation, but since you threatened to kill me, I can't remain polite, said Lin Feng indifferently. In the distance, a thump was heard. It was the challenger's body which had finally fallen down from the sky, dead. Lin Feng, a cultivator of the first Tian Qi layer, had killed a cultivator of the third Tian Qi layer in one punch. Lin Feng had just proved he was strong. Lin Feng turned around and looked at the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Patriarch, I did the same as them. Since they are leaders, can I be a leader too? Chapter 922, A Godly Awareness. Solid as a rock, they are imperial cultivation disciples. They have a very high social status and everybody already wants them as leaders. What is your social status? You can fight, so what? You can't compete with imperial cultivation disciples, shouted the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect furiously. Did Lin Feng want to die? You're the only one who keeps talking about their social status without regarding that this is Ganyu's internal affairs, this is none of their business. You want to be the real leader and control things from behind the scenes. There's no need to stage everything anymore, said Lin Feng. Shut the hell up, shouted the patriarch furiously while releasing his godly awareness and attacked Lin Feng's awareness. Lin Feng's godly awareness shook violently as he took a step back. Insolent, shouted a voice furiously. An extremely powerful godly awareness spread in the air and aimed at the patriarch. Bzzz, bzzz, the atmosphere was trembling under this assault. Even the color of the earth and sky changed. What? The crowd was astonished. Surprisingly, someone actually attacked the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Who was attacking though? There was no need to look for him this time. Suddenly, an old man rose up in the air and he looked majestic. His entire body was surrounded by incredibly powerful energies. He was precisely the one who had attacked the patriarch. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect pulled a long face. He had sensed the old man's godly awareness and it was terrifying. How come he didn't know him? He knew most of the strongest cultivators in Ganyu. Die! Shouted the patriarch furiously. In front of the crowd, how could he flinch? His godly awareness turned into many hands which attacked the old man. Mountain-like godly awareness, shouted the old man furiously. Bright lights illuminated the whole area. A golden mountain appeared, it was lofty and seemed like it could crush the entire world. Boom, 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 boom. The mountain-like godly awareness was incredible as it crushed all the hands. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was shaking under this pressure. The golden lights fused and turned into an ancient mountain. The crowd was speechless as they looked at the godly awareness turn into an ancient mountain. What a terrifying godly awareness. It was gigantic. Duan Mu, Nie Qing and King Dragon were astonished too. What a terrifying godly awareness. They had never seen that old man and they had never even heard of such a strong cultivator in Ganyu. Did the old man come from another region? How strong, thought Lin Feng. He never thought that his teacher could be so strong. Even the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was scared. Qiong Qi's eyes were twinkling. He was in the sky with Lin Feng as well. The old man's cultivation level was lower than the patriarch's, but his godly awareness was so much stronger. The patriarch pulled a long face. He looked at the golden mountain and shouted furiously, Die! Many shadows appeared and turned into a gigantic hand. Boom, boom, boom. His godly awareness was extremely fast. The ancient mountain and the gigantic hand quickly collided. The ancient mountain slightly shook but nothing more. The gigantic hand, however, was shaking violently and the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect wasn't any better off. Die! Shouted the old man furiously. He moved his golden mountain again. The gigantic hand continued to be pushed backwards. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect kept running backwards too. His face was deathly pale. He recalled his godly awareness. His robe was fluttering in the wind. It seemed like he wanted to fight against the old man's mountain-like godly awareness with his strength. Humph, the old man groaned coldly. His voice was so loud that people's heartbeats accelerated. The golden mountain-like godly awareness turned into a bright dazzling light which was composed of an infinite amount of godly awareness. Then the old man recalled it. Patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect, what kind of social status is that? You dare bully my disciple, do you think you can do that? Said the old man upset. His disciple? Everybody looked at Lin Feng. So he was his disciple, it was no wonder that he attacked. But the old man was really strong. Surprisingly, he even managed to scare the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect with his godly awareness. Lin Feng had accepted a challenge so he could become a leader. The old man was just as aggressive. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect pulled a long face. He had bullied his disciple so he had indirectly humiliated that young man's teacher. Then, the old man had attacked him and he had flinched. It seems like you decided to cause trouble here, right? Said the patriarch glaring at the old man. Don't blame me. You're a clown who chose a few young people based on the fact that they're imperial cultivation disciples. My disciple is not any less talented than them but you decided to bully him. Do you think all the people who came to the great sect meeting are idiots? Do you think you can play with them as you wish? Said the old man. You are not the only person who can decide who will be a leader or not. Everybody should have a voice. You could have explained your vision directly. Do you think you can treat people as mere tools? The atmosphere turned silent. The old man was audacious but many people secretly agreed with what he said. How could the three leaders give all the orders and force people to obey? Other people should have the right to express themselves. Lin Feng expressed himself and he got bullied, that wasn't fair. So what do you think would be fair? Asked the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. If you want to choose leaders according to their talent, then compare people's talent. If you want to choose them according to strength, then compare everyone's strength. Make all the strong cultivators fight. Besides, you don't need that many leaders, one should be enough. The old man said indifferently. Then, he looked at the crowd and said, "You all agree, right?" "Indeed. To choose a leader, the strong cultivators should all fight. Indeed, the strongest one should become the leader. Fight, fight." After a few seconds, many people decided to speak up. All of a sudden, the whole crowd was shouting. The old man had said exactly what they were thinking. "You want to fight against me?" The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect looked at the old man and said in a cold way, "Those who want to become a leader, come out. If you don't, you'll have to accept the final leader." The old man smiled. Those 3 people wanted to control the entire meeting and so many strong cultivators. How could it be that easy? He wanted to see if the leaders would agree to fight as well. They were all leaders, so if they fought, they had to show how strong they were. If they lost, they'd lose face. If they didn't fight, they'd lose face. King Dragon, Duan Mu, and the others looked at the old man. They didn't know where he came from, but surprisingly, he wanted to ruin their plan. "Since you organized the great sect meeting, you should explain yourselves, especially those of you who came from very far away. We're not idiots. Nobody is stupid here. You organized the meeting, but if you don't tell the truth, then it's useless." Lin Feng's voice was gentle, but he was smiling coldly inside. How would they deal with that situation? Chapter 923, The Defeat. "Damn dogs keep barking," someone screamed. People turned around. Tian Lin had erupted with anger. Lin Feng's eyes narrowed. "Who are you insulting?" asked Lin Feng coldly. "Do you think that you and the crappy old cultivator can disturb everyone as they wish? You're a piece of trash. Last time, I didn't kill you, but don't think that it's because I can't," said Tian Lin. "You both are crap. Who do you think you are? Do you really think you can become a leader?" Boom! A terrifying energy suddenly shot towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng moved like the wind and threw himself at Tian Lin. "Die!" shouted Lin Feng furiously. A golden light appeared between his eyes as his godly awareness turned into an ancient bell and moved towards Tian Lin. Tian Lin's facial expression looked gloomy. Lin Feng had only broken through to the first Tian Qi layer and had already understood godly awareness. Not to mention his godly awareness was extremely strong. Bzzz. Tian Lin released his godly awareness from between his eyes. His godly awareness resembled his soul a bit. "Piss off." Lin Feng arrived in front of Tian Lin and punched him directly. Lin Feng's punch contained the force of the earth and sky as well as a sharp qi and physical strength. Lin Feng punched with all his strength. Tian Lin felt like he was suffocating under that punch. How could Lin Feng's physical strength be so powerful? He had only broken through to the first Tian Qi layer, but his punch was as strong as a cultivator of the third Tian Qi layer. Boom boom boom. Their godly awarenesses collided. The ancient bell emitted buzzing sounds. Tian Lin's godly awareness was made of wind, and as it was pushed back, it pushed Tian Lin back as well. He didn't have time to think, he raised his fist and wanted to punch Lin Feng. Boom, boom boom. The atmosphere was trembling. A terrifying strength crashed onto Tian Lin's body. Lin Feng was 2 levels lower than Tian Lin, but his punch made Tian Lin move backwards violently. He was propelled backwards so fast that his feet made a loud sound against the ground and 2 fire trails appeared on the ground. Die! Tian Lin was still pushed backwards, but the ancient bell made buzzing sounds again. Die! Shouted Tian Lin furiously. He released his spirit and a terrifying wind started blowing. Boom boom boom. Another punch. Tian Lin had just started releasing his spirit but was already punched again. He kept sliding backwards. When he stopped moving, Lin Feng stopped too. His golden godly awareness was still floating there. Lin Feng was surrounded by golden lights as he said, "Imperial cultivation disciples. You're just pieces of trash, still sucking on your mother's nipple. Yet you dare talk to me so arrogantly. If I had broken through to the third Tian Qi layer, you would already be dead. I could easily kill you. How can you be so arrogant knowing that? Lin Feng was so aggressive. Tian Lin pulled a long face. Lin Feng had punched him twice and propelled him backwards violently both times. Tian Lin was a cultivator of the third Tian Qi layer, Lin Feng of the first, so that was a big difference. You called me a piece of trash, but you're an imperial cultivation disciple, don't you feel ashamed? Continued Lin Feng. He really wanted to humiliate Tian Lin. Of course, Lin Feng was lucky because Tian Lin was slow. However, it doesn't mean that Lin Feng wasn't strong. The imperial cultivation disciples you chose really aren't strong, said the old man indifferently yet jokingly. My disciple would be a much better leader, said the old man smiling. The old man and his disciple seemed really close. Patriarch, let's play with them, said Tian Lin to the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. All right, said the patriarch nodding. He stared at the old man challengingly. Could those two people compete with them? If my teacher and I win, will we be the leaders? Asked Lin Feng mockingly. He loathed Tian Lin and the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. You will die today, said Tian Lin aggressively. His wind spirit made whistling sounds as he used more and more qi of the earth and sky. Is that so? I want to see how an imperial cultivation disciple will kill me, said Lin Feng with a cold smile. He then looked at his teacher and smiled, Teacher, let's fight. All right, said the old man nodding. Teacher, I'll bring them to a place and you should follow me. Don't use your full strength, just protect yourself, said Lin Feng using telepathy. The old man looked surprised but didn't say anything. He just replied, all right, you should also be careful. That guy's spirit is extremely strong. Besides, he surely has some amazing skills and techniques. I understand, replied Lin Feng. Both were using telepathy so other people couldn't see that they were communicating. They turned around and saw the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect and Tian Lin release terrifying energies. We'll see if you still act so proud later, said Tian Lin coldly. His spirit was emitting terrifying sounds now that it had surrounded Lin Feng. Lin Feng looked at that hurricane and narrowed his eyes. He joined both hands to condense energies. Piss off, shouted Lin Feng furiously. He then started punching the wind faster and faster and it seemed like the wind was starting to disperse. Die, shouted Tian Lin. He released even more of his spirit to attack Lin Feng. The hurricane turned into a black tornado made of strength and it was becoming even more difficult to see. Lin Feng condensed pure qi and rose up in the air, but his pure qi was destroyed immediately. Lin Feng started running quite far away. You think you can escape? Said Tian Lin. He chased Lin Feng, he was extremely fast as well. He also knew how to use the Xiaoyao agility technique since he was a member of the godly Xiaoyao sect. The wind kept roaring as the old man was also calmly protecting himself. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect couldn't defeat him. The crowd was watching those strong cultivators in the sky. Lin Feng kept running away in the sky. He was going towards the last mountain of the mountain range. Where are you going? Shouted Tian Lin furiously. His soul was also extremely fast. Piss off. A shadow fist came out from Lin Feng and attacked Tian Lin and then he continued running. What? The old man saw where Lin Feng was going and frowned. He then started following Lin Feng too. Do you think you can save your disciple? Said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect while smiling coldly. If you dare attack the imperial cultivation disciple, we will all join hands and kill you. Those 4 people were flying in the sky at incredible speeds. Lin Feng's level was lower than Tian Lin, so who was going to win? Chapter 924, Flame Mountain. In the blink of an eye, Lin Feng, Tian Lin, the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect and the Zun cultivator ended up fighting in the third mountain, precisely where Lin Feng had wanted to lead them. Where are you going? Tian Lin looked at Lin Feng and released more wind. Seal. Lin Feng used some demon sealing strength. The strength of the sealing stone obstructed the wind. Lin Feng continued running and used pure qi to go even faster. You want to die, you will definitely die, shouted Tian Lin furiously. His terrifying wind spirit rose up again and turned into a black cloud. His strength was tearing apart the atmosphere. Boom! Lin Feng looked at that terrifying spirit. He was almost sure that Tian Lin's parents were Zun cultivators now, otherwise, his spirit couldn't be so strong. Bzzz. A beam of light appeared and it moved straight towards the hurricane. A dazzling light also appeared on the ground. What? Tian Lin was surprised. What were those lights? Tian Lin frowned. His wind spirit suddenly looked much weaker as if he had forgotten that he was fighting. What's that? Whispered Lin Feng. It was as if his pure qi had activated something. Lin Feng knew what it was, of course, he was just pretending. Tian Lin's hurricane looked much weaker. His spirit came back behind him. He used more pure qi and more lights appeared. Some people arrived, they didn't understand what was happening either. The Imperial cultivation disciples were surprised too. They all started releasing pure qi. Very quickly, the ground seemed to become brighter. It was as if a picture was appearing on the ground. Boom boom boom. 2 marks appeared. The old man and the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect separated too. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect was staring at those marks. Was it going to appear? Duan Mu and Mia Qing were also looking at that. It was as if they had thought of something. Lin Feng and Tian Lin weren't fighting anymore. The patriarch and the old man also stopped fighting. People hurried over, they wanted to see what was happening. Something big was happening. You knew, right? Said the Zun cultivator to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and said, using telepathy, Teacher, we're going to open the door to a small world. The old man was surprised, a small world? What was going on? Please help, said Tian Lin to all the leaders. He seemed excited. Why did marks appear? Had a strong cultivator cast a huge space spell there? Those marks seemed like those left from casting a huge space spell. All right. The leaders nodded, landed on the marks and released pure qi. They were surrounded by dazzling pure qi. The marks were becoming more and more distinct. Quickly, more marks appeared between the 3 mountains. What is that? Why are there such powerful marks here? The crowd was astonished. Lin Feng had found those terrifying marks. They were curious, why hadn't they seen them before? The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect glanced around. The strength of a small world was emerging. Everybody, together, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Everybody nodded. They looked calm and solemn. Using only one person's strength, it was impossible to unlock the secrets of that small world. All right, together, said King Dragon at that moment. He released an extremely powerful strength as well. At the same time, strength was seeping out of the marks. Boom! The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect stomped on the ground. Boom! Kacha, strong cultivators were all attacking the ground together. The marks were becoming more and more distinct. Apart from those who were in the sky, everybody started feeling extremely hot. What's going on? The crowd started panicking. The strong cultivators didn't stop through, they did the opposite, they released even more strength. They looked solemn. Someone was asking them to help open the door to a small world, that was a chance they couldn't miss. Boom boom boom. People were starting to feel hotter and hotter. The ground had started collapsing. Boom boom boom, boom boom boom, a scorching hot qi made them sweat. Steam was propelled upwards from the ground. Huge space spell, a small world. Lin Feng looked at the scene. The ground was cracking in the middle of the 3 mountains and a small world appeared. It was like Shingon. However, Shengong used an illusion to create a door to the small world. Here, the small world had been sealed. If Cheong Chi hadn't found the place, nobody would have. Even the strong cultivators who were there were not able to find the small world. Boom! Terrifying flames appeared. The crowd stepped away from the newly formed hole. The mountain range was shaking as a sea of flames appeared. It was a mountain range made of scorching hot flames. That's the landscape of the picture scroll, a mountain range made of flames, thought Lin Feng. The map showed that exact place. Flames, flames, thought Lin Feng. What a strange mountain range. A gigantic cave appeared as well, and it was filled with flames as well. Chapter 925, Void Fire. The mountain range was on fire. It was burning. The fire looked both real and fake at the same time. Fake fire, people frowned. That fire wasn't real. But the red color of the fire meant that it was fire energy of the highest level. Void fire. Tian Lin and the other Imperial Cultivation disciples were astonished. There was void fire in that small world. They had to obtain it. Let's go. Some people rose up in the air and then dove into the fire mountain range. King Dragon, Mie Qing, Duanmu, and the others dove into the void fire. Everybody, don't forget about our agreement, said Tian Lin indifferently. Many strong cultivators frowned. They had heard about that small world because the Imperial Cultivation disciples had told them about it. That's why they had decided on the Asoka Mountain for the location of the Great Sect meeting. The Imperial Cultivation disciples had set a few conditions to help those strong cultivators. First, they had to give the Imperial Cultivation disciples good items, and in return, they had to help destroy Tian Chi. Don't worry. I remember our agreement, said King Dragon, smiling, but his heart was pounding. Void fire. Besides, such a strong fire was more useful for Zun cultivators. With such a fire, they would become even more powerful. Even for them, it was difficult to find such a precious thing. Not that it was in front of them, the people from Ganyu had to enjoy it too. You better remember, you must help us obtain that fire. If you violate our agreement, our fellow disciples and our teachers will come here and destroy all your sects and territories, said Tian Lin. The strong cultivators from Ganyu looked annoyed. He was threatening them. However, considering Tian Lin's social status, they remained silent. They had to show respect. An emperor was at the head of many sections. They had a myriad of Tian level and Zun level cultivators. They also had a few incredibly strong Zun cultivators. Even if they didn't necessarily receive direct teachings from the emperor, he would still help them when in need. A Zun cultivator and a group of Imperial Cultivation disciples could probably destroy Ganyu. Don't worry. We can't obtain that fire anyway, so you can have it, said the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect in a nice way. They couldn't defend the godly Xiaoyao sect. Alright, now help us and lead the way, said Tian Lin indifferently. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect and the others turned around and led the way. They made pieces of mountain explode on the way to create a path. Zun cultivators could easily destroy mountains. Boom, 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 explosions sounded as the mountain range was breaking apart. The fire was getting hotter. Those Imperial Cultivation disciples came here because of the fire in Asoka Mountain, said someone suddenly. Those Imperial Cultivation disciples had an agreement with the leaders of the influential sections. Those people wanted to steal their region's treasures. However, could Imperial Cultivation disciples who were only at the Tian level cultivators use the void fire? Fire kept burning. Suddenly, a road appeared from within. It led to a mountain where the void fire was housed. Thank you, leaders, said the Imperial Cultivation disciples. Then, they walked towards the mountain and groaned coldly, we have an agreement, so don't get any closer. Instead, you should help us prevent other people from getting any closer. The leaders remained silent and blocked the way. Brother Hua doesn't need that fire, I hope you can gift it to me, said Tian Lin to the Huasher brother. Void fire is a kind of fake fire, of course I need it. Ask them if they can give you their part of the fire, said the Huasher brother while shaking his head. Tianlin didn't think it would hurt to try, he knew that that guy wouldn't give up. And there was the insane guy. If he obtained some of that fire, he might kill Tianlin. So Tianlin had to be careful and not offend him for the time being. There was also the young man with the ice and fire energies. He would never give up that fire. I need to obtain that fire for myself, thought Tianlin. Let's use spells, said the young man with ice and fire energies. He walked towards the void fire. If he acquired void fire, he would become so much stronger. However, the others wouldn't give him everything. Come back, said someone furiously. Suddenly, the Huasher brother attacked and in a flash, the young man with the ice and fire energies couldn't move. Piss off, he shouted furiously. He released ice energy and everything froze. At the same time, Tianlin's silhouette flickered as he ran towards the void fire. Where are you going? Dazzling golden light spread in the air towards Tianlin. He immediately released his spirit. They were all fighting. They all wanted the void fire for themselves. In the distance, the crowd gathered and watched the 4 imperial cultivation disciples. They couldn't get any closer because the 3 leaders had an agreement to prevent anyone from nearing. Some people really wanted to get the fire too. They were waiting patiently to see if they could get a chance to get close. They had to try, at least. Many people started breaking pieces of the mountain to create a path. The 4 imperial cultivation disciples were still arguing while moving forwards. Without realizing it, they arrived at the fire but couldn't stop fighting. Fake fire, someone used pure chi to grab the void fire. However, when trying to grab the void fire, they sensed a terrible pain through their body. They couldn't get too close to it. Piss off, all of you. You can't take that fire because you're too weak, shouted Tianlin coldly. However, amongst the flames, it started snowing. The snowflakes melted only as they arrived in the flames. How could it be snowing in the middle of those flames? They gazed into the distance and saw a silhouette surrounded by snowflakes. They looked surreal. The young man walking on the snowy path just glanced at them and continued on. The crowd was even more astonished. They couldn't sense any chi but they could see him. That young man had long black hair, his pupils looked ice cold and he was surrounded by demonic chi. A demon. Chapter 926, Demoniac power. Snowflakes were floating in the wind. Suddenly, the demoniac young man disappeared from where he was. The crowd frowned. Then, he appeared again, but this time, he was at the end of the path where the void fire was. Where are you going? Shouted Tianlin furiously. He used his Xiaoyao agility technique and moved with incredible speed. In a flash, he appeared in front of the demoniac young man. The others didn't prevent him from going there this time, they had to prevent other people from stealing their treasure. You really want to die, shouted Tianlin furiously. A whirlwind appeared in front of him and moved towards the demoniac young man. Demoniac energies rolled in the air as pure demon energy was flowing from the young man. Even though he had only broken through to the first Tian Chi layer, his demon energies were incredible and terrifying. Explosions sounded as the demon energies met the wind. Gigantic demon hand, shouted the demoniac young man. A demon hand appeared and assaulted Tianlin. Boom! The gigantic hand collided with the wind. The wind was strong, even people who were standing far away could sense that strong wind. The demoniac young man remained motionless. He was 2 levels weaker than his opponent, yet his opponent suffered even more from the attack. Where did that demoniac young man come from? The demoniac young man turned around and looked at the void fire, his eyes twinkled. The crowd suddenly saw an incredible amount of fire move towards the void fire. Surprisingly, someone was stealing the void fire. Die! Tianlin smiled coldly. The other Imperial cultivation disciples also smiled coldly. Someone was actually trying to steal their void fire. He was surely begging for death. Slash, slash, the fire mountain broke apart and some fire penetrated into the mountain and surrounded the void fire. "Humph, he is about to bring about his own destruction," said the crowd mockingly. They didn't know what his fire was, but in any case, he wanted to die. However, the cultivator's fire kept absorbing the void fire. The fire's strength became weaker and weaker. Even the mountain, which was initially colorful, was turning colorless. "What's going on?" the crowd frowned. That cultivator's fire was actually absorbing the void fire. "How audacious, stealing the void fire," shouted Prince Tianlin furiously. He released his wind spirit and attacked the young man. Slashing sounds spread in the air. The young man's silhouette flickered away. Xiao Yao agility technique. Tianlin's pupils became extremely wide. But then a terrifying demon strength rolled in the air, demonic fire energy. Xiao Yao agility technique. How come that young man could use the Xiao Yao agility technique? "Destroy!" shouted the demonic young man furiously. A gigantic hand appeared in the sky and headed for Prince Tianlin. Boom ka! A terrifying chi rolled in the air. The gigantic hand punched Prince Tianlin and propelled him backwards. His wind spirit flickered and moved towards the demoniac young man. "Die, die, die," shouted Tianlin. His voice echoed far away and pierced through people's eardrums. Rumbling sounds spread through the air. Tianlin was propelled backwards again, this time his face was deathly pale. But he was fixedly staring at the demoniac young man. "Die," shouted Tianlin. His wind spirit rose up in the air as his hurricane turned into a tornado. The demoniac young man raised his head and he shouted, "The path of cultivation is merciless, demons are all-conquering, die." Roar! The demoniac young man released an infinite amount of energy. Tianlin's wind spirit was already applying a lot of pressure, but when the demoniac energies invaded the whole atmosphere, the wind energies were completely oppressed. "Your wind spirit is strong, but I can easily destroy it." Ka-boom, boom boom. The infinite amount of demoniac energy turned into a gigantic hand. The wind spirit was emitting whistling sounds, but it was becoming weaker. "Die!" The terrifying gigantic hand grabbed Prince Tianlin. The gigantic hand was filled with demoniac energies. Prince Tianlin stretched out his hand, trying to protect himself. Boom! The gigantic demoniac hand turned black. They collided and blood splashed everywhere. His wind spirit was suddenly weak. The crowd was astonished. Who was that demoniac young man? He was so strong and had only broken through to the first Tian Qi layer, but he could already defeat Imperial cultivation disciples. His fire was swallowing the void fire during the entire exchange. The lights emitted by the mountain were progressively fading. The crowd realized that there wasn't much void fire left. Oh no, the proud and aggressive young man's facial expression changed drastically. He started running towards the void fire. The demoniac young man turned around and said coldly, "Stop." The aggressive young man glanced at him and released his dazzling pattern spirit. Die. The pattern spirit emitted sharp lights. The demoniac young man's facial expression looked even colder as he released even more demonic energies. The Huashe brothers started helping the aggressive young man and released terrifying energies too. They had to defeat this demonic young man. They couldn't let anyone steal the void fire from them. Slash, slash, the demoniac young man looked at those attacks and stood without fear. His chi rose up in the air. Great celestial demoniac skill, die, the demoniac young man shouted furiously. A gigantic hand appeared, it was even larger than the hand used against Lin Tian, 3 lives demon, great celestial demoniac skill, shake the earth and sky. Chapter 927, Ancient Demon Destruction. The demoniac young man was Lin Feng, of course. Back then, he had practiced the 3 Lives Demon Emperor's skill. He hadn't used it until now, but he could use it to steal the fire from the Imperial Cultivation disciples, so now was better than ever. His demon energies rolled in the air. Back then, the 3 Lives Demon Emperor had taken control of Lin Feng's body and taught him the skill. The 3 Lives Demon Emperor had cultivated in the Death Valley for a very long time. Of course, when Lin Feng used the 3 Lives Demon Emperor's skill, it wasn't as powerful as when the Emperor used it, but it was still extremely powerful. An infinite amount of demonic energies enveloped the Imperial Cultivation disciples. Their souls were shaking. Were they going to die? Everybody, hurry up, we need to kill him. Tian Lin almost looked drunk. He punched himself to instantly regain his consciousness. He released terrifying wind energies that shook the earth and sky. Dazzling lights appeared and surrounded Lin Feng. Boom, 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 thousands of demonic beasts roared from the earth and sky. It was difficult to imagine that a cultivator of the first Tian Qi layer had the advantage against Imperial Cultivation disciples of the third and fourth Tian Qi layer. The Imperial Cultivation disciples had easily defeated those challengers. However, that demoniac young man was even stronger than them. Even 1 against 4 wasn't enough. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples were staring at the young man's energies. Where did that demoniac young man come from? How come he was so strong? Insane demoniac attack, roar, shouted the demoniac young man. His voice was loud, it was deep and scary and made them shiver. An illusion appeared which resembled a demonic shadow. He spun his hand thrice, and suddenly the demon shadow wanted to kill them. Die, 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 the 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples were all using their full strength. His chi was that terrifying. Boom, 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 roar, the earth and sky were unceasingly shaking. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples were finally propelled backwards. They managed to stop the attack, but their arms were almost paralyzed. In such a crappy region as Ganyu, there was this miraculous young cultivator. They looked at the mountain and the void fire which was constantly being absorbed. The young man was going to steal everything from them. Let's kill him together, said Prince Tian Lin again. The 4 others nodded, they had to join hands to kill Lin Feng. How could a cultivator of the first Tian Qi layer be so strong? Spirit, shouted Prince Tian Lin. He released his wind spirit once again. Spirit, shouted the young man with the dazzling pattern spirit. Golden lights illuminated the entire space. Spirit, shouted the Huasher brother. Spirit, said the young man with the ice and fire spirit. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples released their spirits and surrounded Lin Feng. No wonder they are Imperial Cultivation disciples, their spirits are so scary, thought the crowd. Could the young man resist them with his strength of the first Tian Qi layer? Die! Die! Die, die, die! Deadly energies were rolling in the atmosphere. The wind spirit turned into a tornado. The pattern spirit turned became oppressive. The ice and fire spirit directly surrounded Lin Feng, so much so that he could barely move. Lin Feng glanced at them and raised his hands in the air. He drew some marks in the air which seemed to contain demon energy. Ancient demon destruction, destroy, shouted Lin Feng as he finished drawing marks in the air. His energy turned into a destructive demonic power. Kacha! The ancient demon destruction attack emitted insane sounds. Lin Feng rose up in the air as his destruction demon power dashed to the skies. The wind spirit collided with the demonic energy but it couldn't block it. The golden lights also collided but it still wasn't enough. The Huasher brother couldn't make a dent either. The young man with the ice and fire spirit was just as helpless. What kind of strength is that? Shouted Prince Tian Lin furiously. They had inherited from their parents' spirits, Zun cultivators, so their blood was extremely strong. However, the 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples couldn't resist a single cultivator of the first Tian Qi layer. The 3 other Imperial Cultivation disciples were astonished. What kind of power did Lin Feng have? Could it be that he knew emperor-level spells? Inside the crowd, a demon shadow rose up in the air. He was fixated on Lin Feng's battle, murder filled his eyes. It was the patriarch of the Necropolis sect. When he sensed Lin Feng's demon power, he was surprised. Not only was it strong, it was very pure. Lin Feng's facial expression looked ice-cold. Die, said Lin Feng. He attacked the Imperial Cultivation disciples again and their spirits were propelled backwards again. How scary. Even with powerful spirits, they can't defeat him, thought the crowd. It's too bad that his ancient demon destruction spell wasn't stronger, otherwise he would have killed his opponents with it. If his cultivation level was higher, he would have ended the battle by now. In the mountain, the void fire was extremely weak, so much so that it had almost disappeared. The 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples couldn't do anything anymore. Even though they were Imperial Cultivation disciples, they had come for that void fire and they wouldn't get it at this rate. Patriarch, help us, shouted Prince Tianlin. The strongest cultivators had to intervene, it seemed. Many people looked at the void fire. The patriarch of the Necropolis sect was still staring at Lin Feng. To him, Lin Feng was much more interesting than the void fire. Chapter 928, Strong Words. Lin Feng frowned when he saw how all those people wanted to attack him. Suddenly, many snowflakes appeared in the air as that demonic cultivator released a bestial qi. How cold! Many people started to feel very cold, especially at their feet. It was as if they were going to freeze on the spot. Hurry up, shouted Lin Feng. He was obviously talking to Cheong Qi. The fire was being absorbed by Cheong Qi, who was hiding inside the animal tower. Lin Feng didn't want Cheong Qi to show himself, otherwise, the enemies would know that he was the sick-looking young man with the yellow face. Cheong Qi knew he had to hurry up. At that moment, he was using his full strength to absorb the void fire. Apart from Cheong Qi, who was a Xian-level beast, nobody else could absorb that fire. For example, if Lin Feng had gone into it, even with his strength of the Tian Qi layer, he would have burned and died. However, the 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples knew about that fire, so they had probably brought something to contain it. Otherwise, if Lin Feng and Cheong Qi hadn't shown up, how else would they have taken it? Humph. The patriarch of the Xiao Yao sect groaned coldly. He used his Xiao Yao agility technique. He was wondering how Lin Feng could steal that fire. They weren't in a hurry. With their strength, they could wait until the last minute to steal the void fire. They could also easily kill Lin Feng. Kacha, kacha, terrifyingly cold energies spread in the air. A wall of ice appeared in front of the patriarch from the Xiao Yao sect. He frowned. Who? That ice energy was incredibly powerful. There must be an incredible snow cultivator around. The other strong cultivators hurried over, but the ice was rising and it seemed to be swallowing them. Break, they all shouted. They were punching the energy, forcing some cracks to appear in the ice. Boom, boom, boom. The strong cultivators joined hands and broke the ice bits by bits. They then hurriedly started running towards Lin Feng again. The earth and sky were freezing as a voice suddenly sounded, freeze. The strong cultivators' feet were stuck in some ice and they started to freeze slowly as the ice climbed up their legs. Boom, boom, boom. Even more ice appeared in front of them. This time it was an iceberg obstructing their way. Bastard! Boom, boom, kacha. The strong cultivators were furious. They broke the ice again and continued running forward. Who was helping that demonic young man? Could it be that they were from abroad like the Imperial Cultivation disciples? Otherwise, how could that young man of the first Tian Qi layer be so strong? Surprisingly, he was stronger than all 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples together. At the same time, the 4 Imperial Cultivation disciples who were near Lin Feng frowned. Who was helping Lin Feng? They were all staring at Lin Feng. Could it be that the young man was like them? From abroad? Otherwise, how could he have such powerful demon skills? And who was the extremely strong cultivator who was helping him absorb the void fire? They looked at the void fire and watched as it was dimming. The 4 Imperial cultivation disciples were furious. They tried to control Lin Feng with their spirits, but failed. Die, die, die. The 4 Imperial cultivation disciples continued attacking together as energies rolled everywhere. The sky seemed like it would collapse. Kacha! A sound spread in the air. The 4 Imperial cultivation disciples were again disheartened. Piss off, the young man with demon skills shouted furiously. Lin Feng's demon destruction skill pushed their spirits away again. The 4 Imperial cultivation disciples looked enraged. They started running towards Lin Feng themselves. Do you think you have a chance? Said Lin Feng coldly. It started snowing even more as those strong cultivators rushed Lin Feng. However, they found that the distance between them and Lin Feng was lengthening. Space strength. The 4 Imperial cultivation disciples were astonished. Lin Feng turned around and walked towards the mountain. At the same time, the void fire completely disappeared. Capture him, shouted Prince Tian Lin furiously. The strong cultivators started punching Lin Feng's illusion to break it. Cracking sounds were heard as Lin Feng's illusion eventually broke and they continued to chase him. However, Lin Feng suddenly turned around and stared at them coldly. He released an ice-cold bestial chi. You guys are scared of those crappy cultivators, the Imperial cultivation disciples, but you're not scared of me? Lin Feng said indifferently. At that moment, Lin Feng's black robe fluttered violently in the wind. His bestial chi was growing stronger and stronger. Even though he had only broken through to the first Tian Chi layer, he was using demonic and bestial energies. He was stronger than the 4 Imperial cultivation disciples. He was so strong that he had even stolen the void fire. Prince Tian Lin and the others were Imperial cultivation disciples. Could it be that the demonic cultivator of the first Tian Chi layer had no social status? Lin Feng stopped them in their tracks. He made them second-guess themselves. Don't listen to him, just kill him and get the void fire, said Prince Tian Lin coldly. Shut the hell up, shouted Lin Feng furiously. He stared at Prince Tian Lin and said, a piece of trash like you should respect me. You're a disgrace for Imperial cultivation disciples. You're probably one of the weakest Imperial cultivation disciples in the world. The only people who respect you is crappy Ganyu. Prince Tian Lin remained silent for a few seconds and pulled a long face. He couldn't contradict Lin Feng. He had broken through to the 3rd Tian Chi layer and couldn't defeat Lin Feng. Even the other Imperial cultivation disciples couldn't. Lin Feng said that they were trash so they couldn't contradict him either. If Tian Lin knew that both were the same person, what would he think? People were astonished. Prince Tian Lin and the others were real geniuses, but could it be that they were weaker Imperial cultivation disciples? Imperial cultivation disciples were extremely strong, so the crowd believed in what Lin Feng said because of his strength. Since Prince Tian Lin and the others could be Imperial cultivation disciples, Lin Feng could too. Void fire. At that moment, Prince Tian Lin and the others were astonished to find the fire was completely dried up. Patriarch, if you don't attack, don't blame me for being impolite, said Prince Tian Lin, threatening the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect. Even though Prince Tian Lin was a member of the godly Xiaoyao sect, how could he treat the patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect in such an impolite way? However, he couldn't argue Tian Lin. He released terrifying energies which surrounded Lin Feng. If you dare attack me, I guarantee you that will die. Lin Feng said this with a devilish smile. He slowly turned around and jumped into the fire. The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect hesitated because the fire seemed terrifying. Attack, shouted Prince Tian Lin like a madman. Boom! The patriarch of the Xiaoyao sect finally decided to attack. The mountain broke apart. The fire disappeared and turned into a light. Like a meteor, it moved towards another direction. Even the Zun cultivators couldn't keep up with that light. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.